Well, a fantastic, positive Friday. How are you? Welcome to the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. As always, the Gregor Show is presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website where 100% of the revenue stays right here in the lovely province of Alberta. Go to PlayAlberta.ca, and when you're there, use the promo code Gregor50, Gregor50, and we'll get you a free $50 wager with a $5 deposit. Maybe use it on the Oilers last night. Pretty good one if you did. As the Oilers in overtime get the big Game 1 victory over the Dallas Stars. Remember when the Oilers used to lose Game 1 all the time? They had lost 7 in a row prior to beating LA earlier this season. And now it's the Dallas Stars who have lost 7 consecutive Game 1s. And I thought the Oilers will full marks for their victory last night. The penalty kill, obvious, was elite. Stuart Skinner was excellent. I thought the Oilers, their defense and their whole team structure didn't allow one scoring chance off the rush to the Dallas Stars. The Dallas Stars in the regular season were 4th in rush chances for. In the playoffs, they were 3rd. And the Oilers completely stifled them and completely took that away. I don't want to say I told you so, but what did we say in the show yesterday? Don't buy into the garbage myth that, this depth of Dallas is infinitely better. Because as Terry Ryan pointed out, hey, what does depth mean? Pretty sure the Oilers' depth guys, 5 of the 6 forwards are all bottom 6 forwards. That's depth. That's a pretty big part of your team when they're that good on the penalty kill. Vincent Desharnais, 3rd pair defenseman. He's on your first unit PK. Rather important, right? Quite good at it. So there's depth. But then we went into the scoring numbers before. We don't need to rehash them, but Edmonton's depth guys have outscored Dallas's depth guys in the series. It's just a simple fact. So, but when I said about Dallas, they're not as physical. They're not as big as either the Kings or the Vancouver Canucks. And outside of Mason Marchment, they didn't really deliver much when it comes to physicality. Like, even Ryan McLeod was in on the hits last night. He clearly got the memo from the head coach. And, hey, that's what happened when you get benched for 8 minutes in Game 7. Because I said after the game, he wasn't benched due to one error. It was multiple, and that was obviously the most glaring one. But look at Brett Kulak. Like, that's amazing, though. Back-to-back games, the Oilers have those type of plays in their defensive zone. Obviously, it can't happen. You don't want it to happen. But I'll give the Oilers credit. Unlike in Vancouver, now it's Game 7, and I understand it. They're on the road. Vancouver scored that goal, and then for the next 4 minutes, the Canucks were all over them and ended up scoring another one. Last night, after that, where the Oilers were in complete control of the game, it's 2-0. Dallas wasn't doing anything. Brett Kulak, who's been ultra reliable every year in the playoffs for the Oilers, has been fantastic. He just misses the puck. Like, it's stunning that you have that twice in 2 games. But it happened. But guess what? The Oilers didn't sit back. They got a breakaway 8 seconds after Dylan Holloway. Decent save by Jake Ottinger. And then the Oilers had the next 3 shots. Dallas had 1 shot from like 80 feet, basically center ice, just inside, before the end of the period. And then, Edmonton just kept coming. Even after when Sagan tied it late in the game, and you're thinking, the Oilers finished with 3 shots the remainder of the period. And then you look at massive play in the game. Connor McDavid off the opening face-off of the overtime gets a double minor for high stick. It's obvious penalty. I know people are like, well, you know what? They looked at, do you want them to get the play right or not? Yes, they did. Back in 2019, before the start of the 2019-20 season, they were able to review double minors. In case you're wondering, you're able to review it. And that's what they did. They reviewed it. It was clearly a double minor. So McDavid, and it was long. It was really long. It was really, really long. Miserable, is to quote McDavid. That'd be the worst, man. You're thinking, oh my goodness, a double minor. And Dallas, they had a different plan on their power play in overtime because nothing was working in regulation. And so they decided they were going to shoot a lot from the left side. And now Robertson's first shot that hit the goalpost, I watched the replay. I watched the game again this morning. If you watch the replay, that puck is going right at Stuart Skinner, It's not a high danger chance, but then it deflects off of Desharnais' skate and goes to the post. That would have been brutally unlucky for Edmonton had it gone in. But that was not a direct shot from Robertson where he was picking the corner. No, he was going right at it. And in fact, if you look at all of their shots on that 4-minute power play, they were either right from the same side on the left flank, or you had one attempt from the right side from Wyatt Johnson, all from anywhere from 35 to 43 feet out. I think the Oilers will say, you want to shoot from there, go all day. I know Robertson hit the post again, but it was the outside of the post. That wasn't a close scoring chance at all. And to me, it looked like Dallas was like, well, we can't move the puck because Edmonton had done a great job of intercepting passes in regulation. So they said, you know what, we're going to try. And Dallas's power play had a lot of success putting pucks on net and getting rebounds. Well, guess what happened in overtime? Stuart Skinner didn't kick out any rebounds. He either smothered the puck or he pushed it into the corner. It was great goaltending, or the Oilers blocked shots. Right? There was no deflections other than the one off of Desharnais' skate. And that's what made, to me, so impressive last night about the Oilers' penalty kill was how originally they did all this aggressive play and they're knocking passes down. And there was 2 power plays where the Stars didn't even get a shot on goal. Not even a shot. And their first one, remember Jamie Benn had the first shot. He was just dead tired. It's like a minute left here. I'll wrist one from the blue line. Easy chance. Easy save. But the Oilers' penalty kill was massive. And then McDavid comes out. And I respect what he said. Hey, that's got to go in. Because when we look at the Brett Kulak turnover, like that's a play he should make all day, every day. Connor McDavid, you watch the replay, why he didn't shoot about 2 seconds earlier. The minute he made the first move, Jay Cottinger had his stick out as he was moving. There was about a 2-foot hole right between his pad and his stick. That should be in the back of the net all day, every day, 24 hours a day. And McDavid admitted it. I know we've had some people text in, guys, I thought it was McDavid's best playoff game ever. I strongly disagree. He took a double minor to start the overtime. Now, he can say, hey, I didn't like the call, whatever. But the fact is, his stick got in the face. You got to control your own stick. And then he missed a chance to end the game. Now, Bouchard makes a great play. McDavid has a great read on the winner. Awesome. But I'm sorry, I will strongly disagree that was the best playoff game I've ever seen him play. Not even close. Not close. And he'd be the first one to tell you. What did he say when he was walking off? Well, that was eventful. And it was a lot for him. But the Oilers, they went into Dallas. And to me, they went right at the Stars' strength and said, guess what? We'll handle it. Right? Remember all the articles, and what did I tell everybody? I said, well, Tanev and Lindell. I said, Edmonton would take that. And what did they do? They outscored they had 3 goals with those guys on the ice. And twice, Tanev lost the battle. First in front on the second goal for Zach Hyman. Hyman's there against 2 guys and just out-battles him, wins the battle, scores. And then on the overtime winner, Nugent Hopkins chips it in himself, beats Tanev to the puck, then rings it around the boards, Bouchard, McDavid, game over. I will tell you this very confidently. If Cody Ceci or Darnell Nurse make either one of those plays, our text line might have broken. Been freaking out. Guess what? Even good players don't always make the right play. You're going to get out-muscled sometimes. And the Oilers, to me, that's a kick right in the junk, right in the heart of the Dallas Stars to say, hey, your best defensive pair, no problem. We'll take our top line and we'll feel confident against them. I said it before. Wyatt Johnson's going to be a really good player, but he's a young player. Did you even really notice him in the game last night other than falling down 4 times? Playoffs, man. It's a big difference. Size, strength, experience, it matters. And it matters even more than the regular season. And I said it before the game yesterday. Edmonton would be gladly to take that matchup. If you're going to put 2 young players against McDavid's line, all day. And game 1, it worked. Now, I expect Dallas to have it similar. I do wonder, Tanev and Lindell, obviously it was 16:49 for Lindell against McDavid, 14:49 for Tanev. Heiskanen only played 4 minutes against him. A little bit with Suter. Suter played 7 minutes. Right now, they don't really see, because they have a young defenseman in Thomas Harley. He's a good defenseman. But inexperience on your team in the playoffs, the deeper you go, the harder it is. Go back to 2022 and look at how Evan Bouchard played in the conference final compared to how he played in game one. Same person, vastly more experienced player today. And that's not a knock on Evan Bouchard. It's just the truth. Right? Thomas Harley in a few years is going to be way better. Wyatt Johnson, going to be way better. Logan Stankoven, going to be better. But I'm not sure how much better they'll be in games 2 through 7 if it goes that far. Youth it's hard. You can't just manufacture experience, and you can't manufacture strength. And I thought the Edmonton Oilers, the Dallas Stars, did not have the strength to bully the Oilers. Vancouver could do it at times. LA's big and strong. There's more battles. Outside of Marchment, maybe Ben, they don't really have forwards that play that way. Right, Heiskanen is hard to defend because of his skating, positioning. Right, Tanev is an excellent defender, but he doesn't make you pay the price. He's not a banger. Right, and last night, he didn't win the key battles. So we'll break all that down. We'll hear from some post-game reaction. Your thoughts, 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Also, we had 2 peeps who said they were in, but they're not. So I have 2 spots left. I want to fill this out because we want to do the draw at 4 o'clock. So we have 2 spots left for $100. And this is an awesome, fun package for 100 bones in the draw. And we'll do the draw at 4 o'clock. And the winner is going to get 50 tickets in the Delta Valley patio on Saturday, June 15th. It is a 7:05 first pitch for the Riverhawks. Your patio, it's basically you. You have the whole patio, right? You have your own servers in there. They serve you. It's awesome. You also will get 50 beer bats. Those are the jumbo beers that's in the shape of a bat, right? You hold it in your hand. It's like a bat at the Riverhawks. It takes 2 beers, right? Fills up 2 beers. And you're going to get 50 of those and the 50 tickets. And a few people from your group will be selected to participate in the in-game competitions, draws that they do. Anybody's been to the Riverhawks game, they have lots of fun things. Hey, maybe you're fast. Maybe it'll be the sprint race that night. We'll see. But either way, we have 2 spots. If you want in, 833-401-1440. Send in your name, and then we will text you where you can make your donation or Gregor Foundation, and then we're done. So 2 spots, and we'll get those filled, and we will rock and roll. Hey, guys, do you expect Heiskanen to be on McDavid in game 2? I don't. Not mainly because I don't think, and we heard it yesterday from Mike Heika, his defense partner is a very young guy who's learning how to play the game defensively. Does that remind you of someone, Oilers fans? You could do it. It's just a risk. I don't think after one game, Pete DeBoer, who's had a lot of playoff success, is just going to panic and say, oh my God, Lindell and Tanev, they could never play against McDavid again. I would be very surprised if that happens. So I don't expect it to be there, a big change right away. Hey, Gregor, what were your true thoughts on the reffing last night from Spoilers 84? Honestly, McDavid double minor is a penalty. Kane, penalty. The only penalty I didn't think was a one was Evan Bouchard. Other than that, I thought the rest were a non-factor. Right? The Bouchard call I thought was soft. But just because you make one soft call doesn't mean you should have said, well, that was a soft call. So now, because what do you, people hate if they make up calls. They made a bad call. The rest of the game, I had no problem with it. That's not a penalty on Harley on the Holloway breakaway. Now, if it is, if you want to go by the super soft weak call, then yes. But you don't want that. Just because a ref makes one bad call doesn't mean he says, well, now I have to owe the other team one. He's like, hey, sorry, guys, I missed that call. I move on. Right? So I didn't have much of an issue with the officials. I didn't see many other blatant infractions. And to be honest, I'm going to try to avoid. The refs were like 15th in the storyline last night. The penalty kill. Stewart, Skinner. McLeod had 5 hits. The third line probably played their best game of the playoffs. They were generating chances. Warren Fogle skates away from Heiskanen on that breakaway, by the way. Now, unfortunately, overhandled it, rolled on him, whatever you want to call it. Didn't end up actually getting a shot on net, unfortunately. Right? Dylan Holloway has a breakaway. I thought the second line was excellent. Right? The Oilers outshot them. Their penalty kill was spectacular. Their big guns scored when you needed them. So yeah, I just, to me, refereeing, I'll say this, and I'll say this politely. Refereeing is for, talking about officials is for losers, and organizations and fan bases who talk about it all the time, eventually get what you ask for. Don't be Vancouver, okay? They live in it. It's like they all like to sit in the bathwater and talk about it. Don't be that person. Move on. The ref made a mistake. Did Brett Kulak, did he play the rest of the game? Yes, he did. He made a mistake. It happens. Refs are going to make it. Away you go. I don't see it. Hey, Gregor, did you see the high stick to Skinner? Yeah, on his mask. Swung at the puck. I saw it in super slow motion. Did I see it in real time? No. Now, I saw it afterwards, but guess what? Replays after the fact, I don't have an issue with it. Again, the good refs are going to miss some calls, just like Chris Tana is going to lose some battles. Kulak's going to fan the puck. Connor McDavid's going to miss a wide open net. It all happens. Move on from the officials. We're done, at least on our show. Unless there's glaring things that cause a game, I don't think it's worthwhile talking about. I don't think it's very productive. That's just me, though. Hey, boys, I thought Skinner looked great from Superman. Yeah. Think about it. He was outstanding. To me, Stuart Skinner set the tone in the first 2 minutes of the game. Dadonov has the breakaway. And Skinner makes the save on Dadonov and then stops Jamie Benn on the rebound. And I think right there, he exhales. Everyone's like, all right, Stuart Skinner's in. The last 3 games, because to me, Stuart Skinner right now encapsulates what the Oilers have been as a team this year. The Oilers have shown they're a pretty resilient group, right? Remember after 12 games of the season, they were in 31st place. They just lost to the worst team in the league, the San Jose Sharks. Some idiot had to grow his hair out because of it. What a fool. But after that, the Oilers rebounded, had the best record in the NHL the next 70 games. There's been other guys who've had tough stretches. They bounce back. Stuart Skinner, everybody knows, didn't have the start he wanted to the playoffs. Had a little bit of unluckiness in a few of those games against LA, but also some goals he'd want back. Vancouver didn't start well. In his 3 games since returning, he has a .923 save percentage and a 1.5 goals against average. And you look at the goals. Connor Garland, a goal that gets scored on a terrible giveaway. I don't blame Skinner at all. Brett Kulak, same thing. Goal last night, Darnell Nurse is standing there. Just a reaction, tries to block. It goes off a skate right to Tyler Seguin. No chance for Skinner. Right? The only, like, Höglander goal in game 6, makes the initial save, buries it on the rebound. They're not going to stop everything. I think Skinner's been really good. And last night, very good. Poised, controlled. I thought at times he was even a little bit aggressive coming out to the top of the blue paint. He's never going to be an overly aggressive goalie because that's not what he's been. That's not what got him to the NHL. Right? So there's, I don't expect guys to be what they're not. Doesn't, to me, that's never the ideal thing to go on. Right? Stuart Skinner, hey, this is what got you. You can work on a few things, yes, but I wouldn't expect him to make major changes to his game. It just doesn't make sense, right? But if you look, and one other thing on the goalie that I want, because I know it was pointed out quickly, people, Kyle Bukakis yesterday on the broadcast said that Stuart Skinner has a new goalie coach. That's false. He doesn't have a new goalie coach. He has a strength and conditioning coach. That's what Adam Francilia is, right? And he actually works in conjunction a little bit with Dustin Schwartz. Not a lot. Schwartz gives him, okay, these are some off-ice things that we're looking at because this is what we want him to do on the ice, and those are the things they incorporate. But he doesn't work on any technical stuff. Okay, he doesn't work on aggressive stance. He's not going to work on reverse VH. Not going to work on the overlap that Woodley talked about yesterday. None of that. He's not a goalie coach, right? So it was missaid because he's a strength and conditioning coach. He's not a goalie coach. He works with goalies, yes, but he does not work on the goalie position, the technique, the understanding of the game. That's not what he does. So just point that out. Take a quick break. We'll come back. Brent Severin will join us, break down from Dallas's side of things. How much do they miss Rupe Hintz? Also, like after the game, Tyler Seguin, a lot of the stars, like I don't expect them to be nervous. It's one game. They lost in overtime. But what do they need to do better? How can they penetrate the Oilers off the rush? Because the Oilers took away one of their best bread and butters. They limited them to 0 scoring chances off the rush. That was huge. Get to that and more on The Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Hi, Brad McCory here. It's May, and that means it's time for our biggest sale of the year. We're practically giving away. Take our 2023 Ram 1500 Classic that was $59,000. Now, just $44,000. Yes, we're giving with savings up to $15,000 and an available 0% financing for 60 months on our new 2024 Ram 1500 Sports. We really are giving away. Hey, why do you keep bleeping me? I was just saying we were giving trucks away during our biggest sale of the year. Head up the trail and see how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
For Sally hockey fans, your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers, Edmonton. Power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at ewell.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
Building a new home? You may not need a residential elevator yet. But in the future, a Ram elevator could provide greater accessibility and even make your house more appealing to buyers. So book a consultation with Ram Elevators and Lifts and find out how to strategically place closets to save space that will accommodate the addition of an elevator when you're ready. Plan for the future in your new home with grounded simplicity, elevated design. Learn more online at trustram.com.
When it comes to your heavy haul trailers, don't settle for a patch job that will fall apart after a hard day's work. Bring your unit to AccuSteel Heavy Haul Trailers. They'll solve the problem once and for all, keeping you working with limited interruptions. For 25 years, their experts have been providing highway and off-road custom trailers for mining, oil and gas construction, and renewable industries. They're your industry leader in engineered heavy haul trailer frame repairs, retrofits, rebuilds, and custom trailer fabrication. Learn more at AccuSteel.ca.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Hey Edmonton, ready to power up your projects with unbeatable strength and efficiency? Step into Edmonton Kubota, where our massive inventory meets all your needs. From rugged tractors and loaders to nimble mowers and utility vehicles, we've got the machines that work as hard as you do. And guess what? This month, we're rolling out exclusive deals that'll make your heart race faster than our engines. Drive down to Edmonton Kubota or visit EdmontonKubota.com to discover how we can boost your efficiency, productivity, and fun. Edmonton Kubota, powering your passion with every turn of the key.
The Egyptians swallowed a mixture of iron oxide and animal fat. The ancient Greeks made a paste out of pigeon droppings and horseradish. The Romans rubbed ashes and compost on their heads. Mankind has struggled with baldness since the beginning of time, but you don't have to struggle for another day. Hi, I'm Dr. Vance Elliott, and I've helped thousands of men and women get their hair back. Want to discuss all the modern options available? Go to drvanceelliott.com and contact us today.
Logs crackle as you toast a marshmallow to perfection. Light dances off your lustrous new Toyota. Nearby, a cricket chirps. Or a mosquito. Anyways, one thing's for sure, this moment isn't just a dream, it's an invitation to escape. So stop dreaming. Red Tag Days are on a Toyota. For a limited time, lease a 2024 RAV4 LE all-wheel drive from $96 weekly for 36 months at 5.49% with $3,999 down. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Prairie Toyota dealer today.
Portion of this
Pause of Friday continues on. How are you? Jason Gregor, Connor Halley on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation YouTube and Facebook. You can always keep the text coming in, 833-401-1440 in our inbox as we go around the NHL, brought to you by McDonald's. And for a limited time, you can enjoy a chicken or a sausage McMuffin with hash browns and ice or hot coffee for only $5. But get in before 11 a.m. every day, only at McDonald's. And we are joined by a former member of the University of Alberta Golden Bears, NHLer, and now analyst for the Dallas Stars. Brent Severin joins us. Brent, welcome to the show, man. How you doing?
Well, why is everybody so happy over in Edmonton? What's going on? Why are you guys all pumped up?
It's Positive Friday, buddy.
Everybody,
Positive Friday.
No, it's not Friday. No, it's also your Oilers. Yay, win game one. You guys are all jacked up and excited. Huh? Long series though, bud. Long series.
I disagree. I totally agree. But I also think I found it comical how many people thought that Edmonton had no chance in the series. I thought that was somewhat surprising to me.
Yeah, we'll see. Just hold that statement, and we'll get back to it in a couple games. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I'm actually I don't cheer for the Oilers, so it doesn't really matter to me who wins. But anyway, no, I don't.
Why?
Because I don't think I can be. I don't think I can be a respectful journalist if I'm cheering with pom poms in the press box.
That's malarkey. But please go ahead.
So, give me your thoughts on Dallas's game. What did you like? What concerned you?
Well, I really, honestly, it's kind of what I expected. You know, it's always the rust or the rest or what's coming off the team. And with the Oilers coming out the way they did in Game 7 and played that way, it kind of transferred and bled over into this game. It really did. And especially when you watch the beginning of the game, I'm like, I'm seeing your Oilers winning puck battles. I saw the Oilers getting to the pucks first, Stars losing the battles along the wall, and the Oilers look sharper. And I think the Stars were a little bit slow in that regard, and you could feel it throughout the stadium and just watching it over that aspect of it. And of course, you know, when they go over on the power play, that's a big concern too. And you guys have done an outstanding job throughout the entire playoffs with killing penalties, and that's something that they're going to look at. But that's all part and parcel with the sharpness of the Dallas Stars. So not so much the breakdowns that happened, but just their overall game. It just wasn't Stars hockey that I'd seen in the previous series.
Rupe Hintz, now that's 3 games that he has missed. Obviously the last 2 against Colorado. I'd heard that maybe he was a little bit banged up even before he left in Game 4, but he's obviously, I think, their best two-way center. No question, definitely the most experienced. He's big, he can skate, he can check. His absence really kind of changed, it switched almost all of their top 3 lines, right? Like it's a pretty big trickle down effect. You've seen now 3 games without him. Is it noticeable from your vantage point how much they miss him?
Hey, listen, he's a big piece of everything. There's no question about it. But for the Stars, the depth that they had, I just didn't like the way they played, like quite honestly, and they're not happy with the way they played. And I think with the horses that they have, and yes, Rope would make a difference, but they can still play much better. And it came down to overtime for the Stars to do that, right? And the breakdowns that they had, uncharacteristic. Like I say, I always watch, and not just the analytics, and that's what I was looking at this morning, the analytics for how things are matching up with McDavid. But it's as simple as a 50-50 battle, right? When the puck goes in the corner, who's got the determination and the guts to get it out there and do something with it? And the Stars level was not there. Yes, will Rope come back in and kind of spark that with a little bit more speed? What Rope does best is drive lines forward and drive opponents' defensemen back. That's his biggest attribute, is that speed of him slashing through the middle, creating some openings, pushing the opponents back into their defensive zone, and then creating some space for other guys as well as himself. But you're right. We don't know, and they don't share it with us at all, obviously, any type of injury during the year. But he did seem a little bit off a lot of times near the end of the season. And whether he took a shot or got a cross-check, we're not 100% sure which it is. But he took a nasty one off the heel after blocking a shot. So you would assume that that's what's keeping him out. But he is skating, according to DeBoer, again this morning. And he may come in even tomorrow. But again, we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. And will he change things? Yes, it'll definitely be better. But do I still think that the Stars have the horses to win the game without him? Yeah, they definitely do.
So if you look at Dallas and what you didn't see last night that you saw in the previous two series, what should we expect tomorrow then? What will be different in how they approach things?
Yeah, it's going to be much less room for everybody involved. And that's the space that was created by the Oilers and their speed that they utilize, that's going to be taken away. When you go back to the Colorado series and the Vegas series, like sticks and lanes, packing down the middle of the ice, making smarter decisions. That's one thing that DeBoer talked about this morning. He talked about the puck management, and he wanted to be better with that. And again, I think that's a product of a little bit of rust. You cannot bring that intensity in practice, obviously. It's nice to get the rest. And as this season or as this series wears on, you would expect the Stars to be stronger, a little bit more rested moving forward. So just a more determined group, you know, these little battles. Like I watched the first 10 minutes here this morning, and I'm like, oh man, the Stars really did lose a ton of stuff along the boards. And when you're losing that battle along the boards, and 85% of the game now takes place in those areas, and that's how you get pucks interior. The Stars were losing those like right off the get-go, and I think that's going to change immensely in that first 5-10 minutes of tomorrow's game.
It's not normal to see Chris Tanev lose two puck battles that result directly in goals on Hyman in front of the net and then Nugent Hopkins behind the net. And so, you know, you would expect them to be better in that regard. The other thing is Edmonton did not, because Dallas was fourth best in the regular season, third best in the playoffs. It's one of their go-tos. They love generating scoring chances off the rush. And they had zero yesterday, according to Sport Logic. You know, I guess the Dadonov one doesn't fall under their off the rush because I guess you got to skate through the neutral zone is what their definition is, but whatever. You know, for the most part, they didn't give that up, right? What did you see from Edmonton that did a good job of limiting one of Dallas's strengths?
Well, whenever you're tracking back into your own zone and being strong with that, and the Stars on the opposite end of that, before I get into what the Oilers did, the Stars on the other side were having trouble with that. Even the game-winning goal was because, first of all, there was three guys behind the net, and then second of all, Jamie Benn didn't get over far enough to block that pass because he had been tangled up in the corner. I didn't know. I couldn't see from the vantage point this morning of where Jamie Benn was and how long it took him to get to that corner to take away the pass to McDavid. But I thought the Oilers came back effectively, and that's what I love to watch. I love to watch where forwards are tracking back, how they're doing it effectively, how hard each player is working to get there. And me as an ex-defenseman, well, I loved when forwards come back because now I can stand up and they can put pressure on Wyatt Johnson or Jamie Benn coming through, Dadonov through the middle of the ice and forcing those guys. So I think when you're connected the way the Oilers were in that game and having the determination that we saw along the wall, I think that was a pretty good cocktail for them to win this hockey game.
Brent Severin joins us, analyst for the Dallas Stars. The Oilers really stood up the blue line a lot, which you were just talking about as a defenseman. Yep. When you have back pressure, you're like, yeah, I'm confident because even if I get beat, I got somebody here who's going to catch him because I'll at least most likely slow him down somewhat before he goes completely around you. What about the matchup game? It's obviously one game. You know, Tanev and Lindell, they've been their go-to matchup all year long against other teams' best guys. I'd expect them to be up against McDavid again. You know, Heiskanen, we had Mike Heika on yesterday saying, you know, as good of a young defenseman as Harley is, they still, you know what, like he's kind of more of an offensive-minded guy who's improving his defensive game, and so they don't necessarily want to throw him in the deep end right yet. Do you agree with that, or do you think because of Heiskanen's elite skating ability, could he play more than 4 minutes against McDavid tomorrow?
Yeah, I know that was the biggest thing when I was looking through it. I was like, oh man, Miro really had very little time against him. But yeah, when you got Esa Lindell, like for those people in Edmonton that don't know about Esa, he is a burly, strong, hard-nosed player that works along the wall well in front of the net, strong blocking shot. He does it all. Like he is a workhorse, and he's like the Terminator. Like his game never changes in the years that he's been here. It's been pretty much the same. You rarely see him make a mistake or cough one up. And now you put Chris Tanev there, and that's a pretty formidable matchup against the McDavid group. So, I personally would like to see that because I know how much Miro would want that probably. He wants to go against the top, but I think they're also trying to create a little bit more room for Miro to get up the ice offensively and create more. And him and Harley will do that more, obviously, than Tanev and Lindell will. So will that change? That's the numbers that we're going to be following moving forward, and whether Pete DeBoer feels that that has to change it all. Because overall, like I said, I think if the Stars step up their game in all areas, I think they're going to be much better, and we won't be so worried about the matchup between Miro and McDavid anymore.
Mason Marchment was clearly the most physical forward by a long shot. I think he had 9 hits in the game.
Always is. Yeah, always is.
Jamie Benn is. But, the Stars aren't an overly physical team, nor is Edmonton. But did Dallas, do you need to see more physicality? When they went up against Vegas defense, who were bigger, but then Colorado's a smaller defense, did you see a difference in how they deployed their physicality on either group?
Well, I think the thing with the Stars is they don't want to take penalties, and they've really made sure that it is a part of their game. They want to be aggressive, and they're one of the most aggressive teams as far as the forecheck and getting in your face, but they don't necessarily finish the check or rip that puck up. They look for steals through the middle of the ice or forcing pucks wide and cutting those things off. And that will pay dividends, I think, if you're hitting it. Nobody wants to get hit. You can see at times when players let up just a little bit to give that puck away. And I think with Jamie Benn barreling down on you and finishing checks, with Mason always on you and getting in there and getting in your face, yeah, I think that will help. I think that you will see more of that. And that, again, goes with the part and parcel, again, what I've talked about with their overall game being a little bit more tenacious in all areas. And the hits probably will go up as well with that.
One last one for you. I don't know how much you've watched of the Florida Rangers series, but it's only one game. You look at Florida, the really nasty physical team. Would you put Rempe in the lineup if you were the Rangers tonight?
Well, being an ex-enforcer, yeah, I would throw him in there and give him a crack at these guys for sure. It's just to have a look over the shoulder. In playoffs too, obviously as an enforcer, never got to play that much in playoffs because of that, because that goes away. Everybody's hitting. But it's always nice to have that big guy just breathing down. You had mentioned Jamie Benn. When Jamie Benn gets more physical, he can turn the complexion of a game, not so much in playoffs, but it still adds that element. And I'd say, why not? Because they did get pushed around, I thought, a little bit in that game. And someone like that may help you. He's not a liability, right? He can go out there, he can get to his check, he can do some good things with that, and give the kid a chance too. You know what I mean? For him doing what he did for the Rangers this year and fighting all those guys and doing that, give the kid a bone too as well. And I think it's not going to hurt your hockey club. And for you and I think more to watch then. We could see him run around a little bit and take some bodies out.
And one last one. The one consistent that's odd for me about the Stars in the playoffs so far is how much better the results have been on the road than at home.
Yeah.
Any reason why?
Even as players, we don't know why. It makes no sense. And the only thing that, you probably hear is that it's just a simpler game. You know what I mean? They're a little smarter with it. I don't know. People have asked that forever, right? What's the difference when a team better on the home or on the road? It shouldn't matter, right? And I always do that too. I look at guys' stats at home and I look at guys' stats on the road, and I see, who's the homer and who's not. And for the Stars, it's just the other way. They seem to be stronger. Ottinger seems to play better. Their specialty team seems to be a little bit more concise and compacted. So I don't know. I just really think it's a simpler, more determined game on the road, which kind of falls into them just being more prepared and ready for each and every game. So I don't know. Maybe the hotel food is better for them than the home food. I don't know.
Maybe they'll start sleeping in a hotel. I've seen teams do it. You never know. It's weird.
Yeah. We did that with the Avalanche. That's what we did every playoff.
Did it help?
Oh, interesting. What was strange, it was with Mark Crawford. It was the year after the Avalanche had won the Stanley Cup. And what he would do is he would let the guys sleep in, because usually you have 10 o'clock practice, 10:30, whatever it is. But he would let us sleep in, and we wouldn't have practice till 2 o'clock.
Oh.
And then at 2 o'clock, we'd have the practice, and then we would go have a nice meal, and then we'd go to the hotel. So it was just something different that I'd never seen, and it seemed to work for them.
Interesting.
Yeah, interesting.
Nice. Well, Brett, enjoy the rest of the series. Should be good.
Well, yeah, like you, I'm not cheering for anybody. Wink, wink.
There you go. All right. Well, hey, I don't work for the team though, so that's the difference.
Well, thanks. Good talking to you, and enjoy the rest of the way. It's going to be a good one.
There you go. There's Brent Severn, analyst for the Dallas Stars. I don't know why that's so surprising. It's if you're a broadcaster for the team, I understand. You're closer to the team. I'm not. So it's different. Just kind of how it is. John Short taught me that when First time I ever went in the press box. He's like, hey, no cheering in the, not that I was, but he's like, few rules up here. There's no cheering in the press box. He explained why. Because he says you have to try to remove emotion, which is hard. Took a long time. But you have to remove emotion if you want to try to be a little bit more grounded in analysis, right? Trust me, I watch the games with my friends, and they're heavily invested like all of you. And when something goes wrong, whether it's for them or against them, I see the emotional thing. And hey, when I coach my son's hockey team now, obviously I'm not a lunatic coach, but I sense it there. It's different because you care. It's just a little bit different. So nothing wrong with it. But it's I don't see why that's overly surprising that radio host doesn't openly root for the team. I would love the city to win, no question. But whether the Oilers win or not really doesn't impact my ability to do my job. It just doesn't. Quick break. When we come back, bouncing back the Oilers, we've seen it from Stuart Skinner. I say Ryan McLeod, same thing. Ryan McLeod, I think that might have been the first time. It was a short period of time, but I think that might be the first time McLeod's ever been benched that I can recall in 3 years in Edmonton. And look how he played. I think that was his best game of the playoffs yesterday. So bouncing back is pivotal and a huge requirement, I would think, for any athlete to want to be successful. Really any human being in life, if you think about it. Most of us have fallen down a few times, and you got to get back up. But the Oilers have done it. Now the key is, can they do it again where a Dallas team will likely be coming out a little bit stronger? We got some numbers for you. Winning game one in the conference final isn't a massive advantage, funny enough, in winning the series. It's more of an advantage if the road team wins, for sure, because they are 10-5. So that's a .667 winning percentage, where overall the home team, when they win game one, they're only 11-10. That's in the salary cap era, in case you're wondering. I didn't want to do anything before that because I don't think it's really comparable. Now there's a salary cap. It's a much more even playing field, or at least it's supposed to be. So home team wins game one of the conference final. They're 11-10. The road team wins. They're 10-5. So might bode well for the Oilers. Take a quick break. We'll return to the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
The playoffs are wild. We all know that. And this year, Play Alberta is making it even wilder. Make a deposit with promo code Gregor50 to snag a $50 free sports bet with your next deposit. Get ready for unbeatable promotions throughout the playoffs with 10+ odds boost on every Oilers playoff game. Score a chance to win a pair of lower bowl or even exclusive sweet tickets for an Oilers playoff game just by making a bet on an Oilers playoff game at PlayAlberta.ca. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Hey, Eddie Steele here. If you know me, you know I'm motivated. And what motivates me? Winning? Been there, done that. What motivates me is the smell of fresh baked goodness, the kind you find at Bonton Bakery. As soon as you walk into Bonton, you're greeted with a big smile, a warm welcome, and the aroma. So good. The showcase of their baked goods always means trouble for me, not just because of the selection, but the excellent fresh ingredients. That's Bonton Bakery, 8720 149th Street. Open 9 to 5, Tuesday to Saturday.
A full-service provider of heavy haul transportation and rigging at the highest level. Next Gen Transportation.
We're developing new and innovative ways to transport oversized and overweight equipment to remote and challenging locations.
Our Next Gen team leads with a wealth of experience and expertise. But most importantly, we put safety first, so everyone gets home safely.
We also take great pride in supporting our local community programs and teams. Good luck to everyone this season and in the year ahead.
Visit nextgentransportation.com.
There's still time to book your tournament at the Ranch Golf and Country Club.
As one of Alberta's top tourney courses, the Ranch makes hosting fun and easy for any group or business. No matter how unique or unusual, they'll accommodate your vision for an event no one will soon forget.
Start planning your tournament today at their beautifully landscaped course on the outskirts of West Edmonton. On-site event coordinators are here to help, but hurry, availability is limited and booking fast.
Visit theranchgolf.com.
The sports world never clocks out. Neither do we. Sports 1440 has you covered with Fox Sports tonight after 9 and all weekend long. So when you're ready to head home, we're warming up again. Sports 1440, bringing you an all-star performance every day.
At McDonald's, we know summer can go by quickly, so make the most of all the park hangs, beach days, sunsets, and festivals. Whew. With a $2 plus tax sundae or snack-size milkshake, or an app-exclusive $1 plus tax soft serve cone. At participating McDonald's restaurants in Canada, prices exclude delivery. App download and registration required.
The Adventure Calls event is on at GMC. Get the 2024 Sierra 1500 Elevation at 0% financing for up to 60 months. Plus, eligible Costco members can receive a $1,200 bonus on select trucks. With Sierra's available 5.3-liter V8 engine plus more cargo bed volume than any competitor, you'll have everything you need to take on any project this season, like building a brand new doghouse. That's a lot of wood. How big is this dog? Visit your local GMC dealer for details.
The postseason is always exciting for hockey fans, but for GS, it's all about construction season. For 50 years, GS Construction has been laying the groundwork for your community, but they can't do it without the best team possible. GS Construction is scouting for experienced and motivated laborers, pipe layers or pipe layers helpers, lead hands, operators, top men or women, and a water and sewer foreman. Apply today and start working for the 2024 construction season. Visit gsconstruction.ca today.
When summer brings the heat, McDonald's brings the chill. During summer drink days, enjoy a small iced coffee or a refreshing Coca-Cola for $1 plus tax and step up your summer today. At participating McDonald's restaurants in Canada, prices exclude delivery.
Over a calm, glassy lake, you cast your line. Your new Toyota sits majestically by the water's edge. A loon calls in the distance. Or a duck. Anyways, one thing's for sure. This moment isn't just a dream. It's an invitation to adventure. So stop dreaming. Red Tag Days are on at Toyota. For a limited time, lease a 2024 Tundra 4x4 Double Cab SR5 from $164 weekly for 60 months at 6.99% with $6,899 down. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Prairie Toyota dealer today.
We'll do Tate later. 249, Edmonton Sports Leader TSN 1260. We're going to move the 2-minute warning with Cam Tate a little bit later today. So, it's this very special one. I will say that. A very special 2-minute warning with Cam Tate coming up a little bit later on a Positive Friday for you. By the way, we have one entry left in the draw. So 100 bones. I'll tell you what it is after our next guest as we welcome to the show, of course, gold medalist in the Olympics, coming up on 20 years ago. The anniversary is coming up this summer. Also an author, and she is a mental strength coach. Lorianne Mounzer joins us. Lorianne, how you doing?
Doing awesome. Happy Friday, Jason. How
Yes,
are you doing?
I am good. I am very good. It's a great time of year right now, and the Memorial Cup is starting tonight. We got the NBA, NHL playoffs. CFL is kicking off. Baseball, basketball. I love it.
It's total sports on.
Well, I'm as an Olympian, they are announcing now the Summer Olympic teams, right? Like a lot of the athletes, they announced the swimming team earlier. Shout out to Reed Maxwell, by the way, who's a young lad, 16 years of age, who's not little at all. He's like 6'4", but he qualified. I think he's the youngest Canadian to qualify for the Paralympic team. He was born with from the knee down. He has a prosthetic, and he's absolutely killing it in swimming. So he lives just down the street from us. So huge shout out to Reed. They had the Paralympic team was announced for swimming, the swimming Olympic team, and you see all the other ones. But like, do you naturally follow closer to the cycling to kind of see what's going on?
Absolutely. How could I not? It's just I've been looking and looking and looking and waiting and waiting and waiting, and I tell you, it's the hardest thing to find who's made the team. And if you think back to last weekend, It was the Olympic swimming trials, and they had a whole week going on, para and Olympic trials, and it's crazy. I'm always looking at the cycling going, who's coming up, who's next, who's making the cut. And
do we have any Canadians that are medal hopefuls in your eyes?
I think we've got Kelsey Mitchell, but I don't know, Jason, who's made the team. Like I've been
Well, she's
trying.
going to make the team though, isn't she?
I hope so. I'm not sure if she's had the bestest year according to her.
Okay.
There's another Lorianne Genet. Kieran sprinting, team sprints. She's in there. I think she's going to be one to keep an eye on, a big eye on.
Does it, like, as a gold medalist, like, do cyclists just reach out to you randomly asking for advice, or is that not really kind of part of the how it goes?
My phone hasn't rung.
No?
Nope.
So that's like, did you ever reach out to anybody when you were racing?
Well, I talked with Clara Hughes when I was racing, when I was doing more road. Tanya Dubnikoff, when we were racing, I've kept connected with Kurt Harnett on and off. I think, Jason, it's one of those things that you don't really think about. You don't really want to reach out. And I don't know if there's a stigma on that.
Because I'd wonder if you were a racing athlete and a former Olympian just said, hey, you know what? I've been watching races. Hey, would you like it? Or would it be like, you know what? Like, you're not my coach. So, like, how would you respond to that? I'd be
Oh my God, I would love it.
Okay.
I would love it. Actually, I was just thinking about it, and I reached out to Mark Tewksbury. I had a couple challenges, and I reached out to him, and he responded right away. And thank goodness for the internet, because I reached out to him on, it was either LinkedIn or Facebook or so. I don't remember how, but I found him. And I thought, okay, I'm just going to send him a note. And he replied. And then I talked to him. And I tell you, it did my heart and my head a lot of good.
What did you ask him?
Oh, I was going through a lot of trials and tribulations, and I hit rock bottom. And I know that he had been through hitting rock bottom, depression, that sort of thing. It's a big stigma we don't talk about.
Right.
And I reached out, and he was just totally straight up with me. That's how he is, right? And I just think when we share, you can learn so much. And I think a lot of athletes they've got that competitive armor, and it's just, you can't let your guard down, and you have to be strong. You have to be tough. Yeah. And sometimes inside we're just regular people. We can be marshmallows, and it's just, we go through the normal things that everyday people go through. But the pressures that come on are self-inflicted, or they're inflicted and put on you by others. And I use the word inflicted just like another word, but it's the pressure that we put on ourselves. And then the images and the mental visualization that we have can really sink us. And I see a lot of kids struggling. I see a lot of athletes that even just a quick connect talk could change their world.
Yeah, no, I'm always kind of curious how, I wouldn't think if a gold medal, and not that you have to be a gold medalist, but I definitely think it helps. If somebody's like, okay, like she probably knows what she's talking about, and it would all be in the presentation of how you do it. Have you ever thought about, or would that just be awkward to just randomly reach out to an athlete that you've never spoke to before?
I've done both. I've reached out to a couple athletes. I reached out to a national team, and crickets, absolute crickets, which is really interesting. It's like, okay, maybe it's my attitude. I don't know. Maybe it's something they were going through. I don't know. The one thing I do love is grassroots level, is getting in grassroots level. And, you can share a couple talks. You can share a couple things. If you overload the kids, if you overload the adults, you're going to sink them. And it ends up being too much. But if you leave them with one or two things, that can really let them run with it and let them figure some of the stuff out.
And I know I want to go in a different direction, but we're kind of, which is totally okay. I like it sometimes where we had a plan, but now we're going down a different path. And so I'm halfway there. So I want to keep going. In the cycling world itself, because you got into cycling, later, right? It wasn't like you were a cyclist at 10 years of age, right? Well, you obviously knew how to ride a bike, weren't Phoebe Buffet, but you know what I mean? Like is racing a late developing sport when it comes to cycling? Do you think ultimately, like, is it better? Because I've talked to a lot of, there's very few of them who are like, oh, I was 10 years age and I was on the velodrome all the time. Yep. Right. Yep. That's not really the norm, is it?
It's both. It all depends, right? Like, you think about some of the kids that we have that gone through LAMP, the Lorianne Mounzer program, Evan and Mason, they're twin brothers. And total different, one was endurance, one was on the track sprinting. We have Stefan Ritter that was junior world kilo champ, had a traumatic experience where brain injury. He's come back. He's not racing, but he's done a number of things. You look at Kelsey Mitchell, soccer player.
Yep.
She got recruited with RBC Training Grounds. Wow. Like what an idea there for going out and scouting. You hear about stuff like that in the States, but we don't have a lot of that here. We need more of that. We need more businesses to invest in their athletes. Look, you will get the best worker if you employ an athlete. And I would highly recommend any athlete because they're going to go over and above. They're going to go until like they literally drop or just about, right? They'll do whatever it takes. They'll balance training before work. They'll balance training after work, and they'll juggle things and they'll figure it out. And there is no challenge that's too big. It's like, okay, sometimes it may take a little while. You may have to do it over and over and over again, but you're going to figure it out. And that's the beautiful part is we all have these gifts, but not everybody pushes themselves to find out how far you want to go. The word hard, when it gets hard, most people stop.
Yeah.
The word hard, and I posted this on LinkedIn today, is you're this close to a breakthrough. And I've got my fingers about an inch or a centimeter away. And it's just that keep going message. And you got to push yourself if you want to figure out what you got in the tank.
Well, I always say to my son, anybody can quit, right? Like it's not hard really at the end of the day to quit anything that we're doing.
Yep.
It's difficult and it's hard to keep pushing when there's obstacles, when things don't go your way, to forget about it. And, we mentioned Ryan McLeod, obviously he hadn't been very good in the playoffs and it obviously culminated with a terrible giveaway in Game 7, gets benched for really the first time, I think, in his tenure with the Oilers, and then comes back and, well, he wasn't McDavid. He wasn't dominating the game, but he was infinitely more involved in that game. Stuart Skinner gets sat down on the bench for 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
He comes back and in his 3 performances since has looked like a lot more confident. And it's funny, so you have 2 choices to react, right? Like Stuart Skinner's always one. He's like, you know what? I like the fact that I get to experience this experience, and not everyone is going to be rosy. Like he has a very unique outlook on that. You can say, you know what? I only want good things to happen to me, but that's not very realistic. A lot of times you can learn from the bad things and also learn like, okay, now I'm going to see what I'm made of here. Because it's easy for everybody to be friends with someone when they're going well, and you'll know who your friends are when it's going bad, just like you kind of know yourself when it starts to go sideways.
That's when you'll learn the most. Absolutely. And it's just, you'll also get to see the real characteristics of yourself, of others. How do you perform under pressure? Because under pressure that's where things are really happening. That's when things are made. That's when things come together or they fall apart.
And when you look at a guy like Skinner, because we have a lot of people text in, like, what could he have done in those 3 days to magically change? Well, it's not enough time. It's not like he's going through any sort of technical change. That's impossible. You're not going to do that, right? It's just like a reset. And sometimes it's mental where you breathe. You don't feel the pressure of getting ready for a game, even though every backup says, well, I prepare myself like I'm going to play. Yeah, but you're not playing. So it's not the same, right? Like you can tell yourself, but once a game's on, there's no pressure. You're sitting
once
on the
the game
bench.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
But you know what? The starting, you still have to go and prepare, because say Skinner's out and it's just like, if you're not prepared, that's like bad. That's really bad. You've got to go in prepared. And then it's like, if you're not on the game, you're not in the game. Okay. Then you can shift the energy, but you still have got that mindset.
Yeah. And I just, in talking to me, felt like for him, he says it was odd. It was obviously, I want to play. Like that's the number one thing you want to make clear. Like, of course I don't want to sit out, but sitting on the bench, you get a different perspective. And he also said, like, if you think life is going to be easy all the time, then you're fooling yourself. Like this, he goes, this will probably not be the last time I'm pulled in my career. I'd hope it wouldn't be. I hope I never miss a playoff game again, but it's very possible it could happen.
Yeah. And I was thinking about that too, because I'm going, he's been going hard. You have to take a bit of a break. So maybe that was a gift, and we're starting to see that gift. Sometimes 1 day off, 2 days off, 3 days off. Jason, it can do a total world tour exchange of going, okay, now my head is back in the game. I'm physically there, but it's connecting the mind part to it. And sometimes that break, sometimes it's a distraction. Sometimes it's like, who are you talking with? Brent Severin is sleep in. sleep in for 2 or 3 days. Maybe that's out of the ordinary. My head was going, no, you got to get up at 4:45. Like that's the drill. And I probably still would because that's just my routine. But sometimes the guys or the gals, the athletes, whoever it is, sleeping in without an alarm clock going on can be the best thing for you.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Lorianne, hey, I love it sometimes when we go down a different path. That was very entertaining. Have yourself a great weekend, and we will chat with you next Friday.
You bet. You too. Thanks, Jason.
There you go. That's Lorianne Mounzer, Olympic gold medalist, coming up on 20-year. And we might have to ask her, but maybe we'll send her on a road race on the 20th anniversary, just to, time her, see how close she can come to her time 20 years later. Knowing her, she'd probably do it. Connor Halley will join us. We got Sean Brown, Craig Button later on. We'll also hear from Spec, of course, in Dallas, where the Oilers' big victory last night. We'll get your thoughts on what impressed you most last night, game 1 for the Edmonton Oilers. Do you believe what Severin said, that Dallas, it was a lot of rust, and that was a big issue for them? I expect Dallas can play better, no question. But I'm sure Edmonton will tell you, hey, we can be better too. But there's lots of things to like about that game for the Edmonton Oilers. We'll get to those after a Con Man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by High Street Insurance. Started locally, expanded nationally, but they still call Edmonton home. They're driven by people, not products, ensuring your coverage that's finely tuned to the nuances of your Canadian business. Learn more at highstreetinsurance.com. Oh, perfect. I like
Game 2 of the Eastern Conference Final going tonight down in New York as the Rangers host the Panthers. Florida leads that series 1-0. Puck drop just after 6 o'clock. Off the ice, the Carolina Hurricanes announcing that President and General Manager Don Waddell has resigned from his position with the organization. The team added Eric Tulsky has been named interim GM, and a full search has begun for a permanent general manager. Vancouver Canucks general manager Patrick Alvin announcing today that Manny Malhotra has been hired as the new head coach of the team's AHL affiliate, the Abbotsford Canucks. In the association tonight, it is Game 2 of the Western Conference Final. Minnesota taking on the Mavericks. Tip-off 6:30. Dallas leads that series 1-0. We got Blue Jays baseball getting going at 4:40 as they are in Detroit to take on the Tigers. The two teams meet this weekend. Both games can be heard right here on Sports 1440 radio feed only. Elsewhere, Braves are in Pittsburgh. Rays host the Royals. The Dodgers in Cincinnati. Red Sox up against the Brewers. The Mets host the Giants. Rangers in Minnesota. Rockies welcome the Phillies to town. Guardians meet the Angels. Athletics and the Astros, and the Yankees taking on the San Diego Padres. It is the first game of the Memorial Cup. Host Saginaw takes on Moose Jaw. Puck drop 5:30 in that one. In the PWHL, it is Game 3 of their league final, with Minnesota hosting Boston. The series tied at 1 game apiece. And in the WNBA, Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever looking for their first win as they take on the Los Angeles Sparks. Tip-off 8 o'clock. Coming up in hour 2 of the Jason Gregor Show, we will be joined by our co-host, former NHLer Sean Brown, as well as NHL on TNT analyst and former Oiler Anson Carter. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update. Pepsi Zero. Yeah. Yeah.
So I took it home and like the next day I had like 2 sips from that quart. It was so sweet.
Was it regular?
Yeah.
That was from the barbecue.
play. Yeah, but you're not playing. So it's not.
Sales. Oh, I forget his name. Paul. Yeah.
Is it Paul?
Yeah.
Paul?
And he has, everyone has them outside their office, but his, I think, is in his little mailbox.
Thanks, you guys. Yeah.
Good weekend. See ya.
Thank you for always.
Yes. Well, a fan.
Have a good one.
Anson's calling in at 3:20, so just to watch for our time here. Oh, he's not wearing a sweater.
Big day tonight or what? It's salsa dancing.
Sports 1440, Connor here.
Where did you park? Right over here? Yeah. Well, maybe we can just go on a commercial break.
Oh, on YouTube?
As it is Friday, it continues on. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Station, YouTube, and Facebook, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Alberta's only regulated online gambling website. 100% of the revenue will stay right here in the province at PlayAlberta.ca. We have lots of oh, by the way, we're done. We have the big jar now. We've got it all filled out with all the entries, and we'll do the draw at 4:00 for our tickets. 50 tickets in the Delta Valley patio on Saturday, June 15th for the Riverhawks game, and it also comes with 50 beer bats. It's basically the big glass shape of a bat. If it's 2 beers, you get those. You also have some people from your group who are going to be participating in the in-game entertainment / contests that go on at the Riverhawks games. There'll be some comedians there that night. Also, the Gopher Museum. No, I'm not even making that up. The Gopher Museum, which I didn't even know there was a Gopher Museum, but there is a Gopher Museum just outside of Red Deer, and it's coming to the Riverhawks game. Oh man, just thought of like, what's in the Gopher Museum? I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of intrigued. I'm kind of intrigued. Let's welcome in former NHLer, also as a head coach and GM in the Alberta Junior Hockey League, first round selection by the Boston Bruins many moons ago. Wow, wearing a collared shirt today. You got a job interview, Brownie? What's happening?
No, I just thought I'd dress up for you. I'm throwing you off.
Yeah, there's no sweaters today. It's too warm out though.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. You're like, I can't wear a sweater even today.
It's a beautiful day, but hey, I threw my wife off today.
Oh,
She's
yeah.
like, "Where are you going?" I'm like,
Going to see Gregor. Hey,
you want
what's
something?
happening?
Every once in a while, you gotta kind of let her know that. Hey, you know what?
Yeah. What's happening here? Ooh, that's what's called foreplay after a long term of marriage. You just change your shirt every now and then. Ooh, what is going on over there? I like it. So you watch game 1, the Oilers and the Dallas Stars. Well, I guess first of all, what was your expectation heading into the series? And then what about last night stood out most for you?
Man, I don't know what my expectations were because I just knew it was going to be good hockey, which it was. And not just this series, but, every series moving forward just because of the time of the year and how the quality of the team. So, it's a battle of will. It's who's going to stay healthy, who's going to stay hot, and who's going to emerge as a little bit of a surprise. I mean, the game was absolutely it was fantastic to watch from a fan's point of view, from someone that just enjoys hockey, right? It was what stood out to me, I guess, if you put your coach's hat on, is what I'm looking at is the details, right? The small details, on everything, just right to the final goal, right? Nugent Hopkins, it's got 2 guys on him, doesn't turn the puck over, gets the puck in deep, right? Gets on the forecheck. It's not just about getting on the forecheck. It's just the importance of getting and having a good stick just to disrupt the DDT, right? Because all those little things right now, that's what's going to win. And that's what separates, each team and the victories, right? And the details of everyone being on the same page, whether it's Bouchard pinching down, Rick Bowness at the end of the, in his segment after the game talked about, the structure and how important that was. And, anyone that's watching the game, anyone that's been involved in the game, there's 5 guys out there, right? And everyone has to be so predictable with what they're doing. And when guys are predictable and playing, with that type of structure and detail, there's mistakes happen. And so that's what I love now is just the importance of every shift, every period, making mistakes, getting over mistakes. I love the mental side of it, right?
Yeah.
And how dialed in those guys are. And you know what? I played over in Europe, to finish my career, and I was lucky enough to win a championship and play in some pretty important games. And it would be so cool if we could all experience what it's actually like being in the room and the build up and the mindset of these professionals before they go out on the ice, right? Because I imagine, like every other team, they're there 2 hours before at the very least, right? But, just their preparation of leading up to the game. And I just remember being in those big moments in those big games, and I was lucky enough to get in a playoff game, against Dallas, and just the, everyone's preparation and how important and how quiet it is and how focused guys are. It's something I'll never experience that ever again. And it's so special and amazing to be a part of.
So you watched that game last night. Stuart Skinner, since returning to the starting role, it's 3 games. He's got a 1.5 goals against average, a .923 save percentage. Last night was tested a lot more than he was in the 2 games against Vancouver. And, You know what? He was tested early. Dadonov gets a breakaway right away. So I want to get your thoughts on that play, right? So clearly I think that's something that maybe, they weren't expecting or surprised by. They just ring it around like I'm watching the play and Cece's, and it wasn't even like he was even with Dadonov at any point, right? Like Cece had the puck, they're coming up the rush, they dump it in, and the guys are standing on the blue line like they do all the time.
Yeah.
Right. So is that one where you're like, okay, we missed that in scouting, or we just got too aggressive? Or as a defenseman, are you always counting the guys? Like, should you know exactly if there's a guy behind you cherry picking?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny you say counting. You're always, as a defenseman, counting numbers and where guys are. I mean, at the end of the day, for as good as these guys are and as elite as they are, I mean, they make mistakes. It doesn't matter. I'm sure. I mean, every team has. I mean, you watch. But is it Kulak and Cece, right? It's not just one, is it? Well, depending on what side in that situation, it was probably Cece, right? You got to be aware of what side they're coming off of.
Right.
Right. And so it's probably a little bit of a combination. And at the end of the day, I mean, communication is a gigantic part of it. Right. Yeah. So it's never, you're never defending in a position where it's just, hey, I got my guy. And something happens and the puck goes in the net and you come back to the bench and Coffee's like, what happened there? I got my guy. And you're like, a good defenseman defends multiple situations, right? And how they pivot and how they make reads and so on and so on. So, these guys, the mistakes are part of it. And these guys would have been more than prepared with different scenarios and situations that could present itself. And going back to what I said earlier, I mean, the beautiful thing is like every shift, every moment, how engaged and how focused you have to be, because you let up for that split second, right? And every coach, even though, they're pre-scouting, there's always something new that they're going to throw in there. Right. And it's good to have a plan. But at the end of the day, being a pro hockey player and being someone, that's what makes you a pro hockey player, is like you're playing and you're making those reads. It really doesn't matter what the coach says and what he thinks. I mean, it's all great, but you're making all these decisions and that's what you're relying on. I mean, and that was the most amazing thing coming out of, junior hockey where, you have some structure, but, is the winger there? Is he not there? Sometimes he's there. You move up to the American Hockey League. Well, more often he is there in the NHL. That, everyone says it's, it could be a little bit easier to play at the highest level of hockey. And it's like, well, how's that? It's the best level. It's like, because guys are so predictable in what they have to be. And if you're not there, they find someone to be there.
That makes a lot of sense. When we come back, Anson Carter, former teammate of yours, and also from NHL on TNT, will join us on the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440. Oilers Nation YouTube and Facebook, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
I'm Colin Livingston, president of Cantork. Since 2016, we've been at the forefront of hydraulic torque wrenches in Canada. I'm delighted to share our latest venture, in-house production for quicker turnaround, superior quality, and heightened versatility. Experience excellence at Cantork.com.
Until June 8th, make the shift to more savings at Fountain Tire and get up to $200 off a set of 4 select tires, plus a bonus $50 off any service of $150 or more. Restrictions apply. Financing available. Book online today. I can tell by the look on your face you're thinking about it.
The playoffs are wild. We all know that. And this year, Play Alberta is making it even wilder. Make a deposit with promo code Gregor50 to snag a $50 free sports bet with your next deposit. Get ready for unbeatable promotions throughout the playoffs with 10+ odds boost on every Oilers playoff game. Score a chance to win a pair of lower bowl or even exclusive suite tickets for an Oilers playoff game just by making a bet on an Oilers playoff game at playalberta.ca. Bonus terms and conditions apply. Enio and Jason are friends.
Hey, buddy.
What's up, buddy?
Except when they talk hockey. Edmonton had all those first overall picks, and they still can't win.
Yeah, but we still beat you. Battle of Alberta champs, baby.
But ask them who makes the best beef jerky in Alberta, and they'll tell you.
Wilhauk beef jerky.
It might be the only thing Alberta hockey fans can agree on.
Pick up some Wilhauk beef jerky today in Leduc, Spruce Grove, and West Edmonton Mall.
Heavy hauling in the worst of climates can be dreadful. Take the stress off the job with AccuSteel Heavy Haul Trailers. They redefine heavy hauling with premium heavy haul trailers designed, manufactured, and battle-tested in the harshest of conditions. And if your heavy haul trailer has issues, their full service and frame inspections will tell you exactly what's wrong and why. They take the guessing out of repair work with quality engineered frame repairs that get you back working quick. Discover the difference at accusteel.ca.
For 50 years, GS Construction has been laying the groundwork for your community. But they couldn't have done it without building their employees from the ground up. Many of GS Construction's employees started without any industry experience at all. But because of such programs such as GS's Next Person Up, they've gone on to become valued members of the team. If you want to join the team as a laborer, pipe layer, or pipe layer's helper, lead hand, operator, top man, or woman, or water and sewer foreman, visit gsconstruction.ca.
Your love for strawberries is very passionate, you say. Just wait till you get your next taste of Booster Juice. The new strawberry blush smoothie made with strawberries, bananas, vanilla oat, and vanilla frozen yogurt will make you fall in love. And there's no tea like the Strawberry Serenity Teaser, a blend of strawberry juice, green tea, and honey. And for a tasty treat to pair perfectly with your berry obsession, the Strawberries and Cream Booster Ball has returned like your favorite dream. Visit a Booster Juice near you today or download the Booster Rewards app.
There's still time to book your tournament at the Ranch Golf and Country Club.
As one of Alberta's top tourney courses, the Ranch makes hosting fun and easy for any group or business. No matter how unique or unusual, they'll accommodate your vision for an event no one will soon forget.
Start planning your tournament today at their beautifully landscaped course on the outskirts of West Edmonton. On-site event coordinators are here to help. But hurry, availability is limited and booking fast.
Visit theranchgolf.com.
Mark your calendars for Finning Cat's Inventory Blowout, May 31st to June 1st. Head down to our compact construction branch at 10920 170th Street for clearance prices on new and used equipment. Secure 0% financing and choose from perks like a $500 parts credit, a cat cooler, or Edmonton Elks tickets. Plus, be our guest for a free lunch from 11:30 to 1 on both days. Hurry, these deals last 2 days only. Some exceptions apply.
An accident. And it wasn't your fault.
How do I get the compensation and support I need? Can someone please help me with all these forms?
Why are the adjusters calling me?
What kind of work will I be able to do now? Is anyone listening?
It feels like no one has my back.
Robinson LLP does. Visit RobinsonLLP.com to find your injury lawyer. Robinson LLP, the recovery team.
It's officially spring, but when the snow melts, the grass will grow. Tame your yard with the help from the Lawnmower Hospital. Live on an acreage? Save up to $2,000 and get 0% financing for 36 months on select Toro zero-turn tractors, OAC. For smaller jobs, go for the Toro Super Recycle. With personal pace and electric start, make spring yard care a breeze with Toro and the Lawnmower Hospital. LawnmowerHospital.com.
The Lawnmower Hospital.
Welcome back, Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sean Brown, on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation YouTube and Facebook. A few more texts coming in. Hey guys, why would Skinner hire a new goalie coach from Doug? He didn't, Doug. That, and unfortunately, Kyle's stating, hey, he hired Adam Francilia, which is true, he did. But Adam Francilia is not a goalie coach. He's a strength and conditioning coach. Now he does work. He's worked with lots of goalies. He worked with Mike Smith and others. But he doesn't work on, okay, let's try, we're gonna eliminate the RVH. Now we're gonna get into the overlap, or maybe we want to work on your high glove or different. That's not what he works on. He's a strength and conditioning coach. Remember, Mike Smith talked about how Mike Smith wanted to be able to improve, did some core exercises that would allow him to, when he leaned forward, because sometimes he was leaning too far forward, right? Remember 2020, 2021, and then you compare it to 2022? Same goalie, exact same style. He still played deep in his net. The difference was he had strengthened some of his core that allowed him not to have to end up, because I think they had a term for it online. It was like belly flops per 60 for Smith there for a while, right? And then he eliminated him. So that report about a goalie coach isn't accurate. It's a strength and conditioning coach.
That man, I have never seen a goalie put together like Smith. I've seen him a few times.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I've been on the ice,
Really
and
good
I've been in
shape,
his
man.
dressing room, and
Good
I mean,
athlete.
I've been, I've seen a lot of goalies, and that guy looked like a player. I mean, at one point, I think he was he was probably top 2 toughest Oilers on their team. I would say, which I don't know if that's a good thing.
Yeah. Well, that's never a bad thing.
I don't think
He's a big dude.
Yeah, I know, but I don't. Yeah,
Well,
I
they
never
had
really.
Kane, they had Nurse, they had other guys.
Yeah,
But I see
he
what
was
you're saying.
tough. He was tough. I never liked it when a goalie, when he had to do that. I always thought it was kind of a little bit of embarrassing.
But he fought the other goalie. Like, no, remember
Yeah.
Darnell Nurse was tapping Cam Talbot on the pad saying go.
Yeah.
Like, Nurse isn't going to fight Talbot.
No, yeah.
Right. So when that's Mike Smith never fought him. Like, Mike Smith was, when he'd get out of his net, he'd play the puck, and a lot of times he played great. Then every now and then he'd have one. But, him, and really, I'm not sure many people knew, like, they're like, okay, goalie fight, but they didn't expect him to kind of lay the beat down like that, right? I think the only thing people were like, would it be nice to see him fight Binnington? Because Binnington, to me, is the one guy who acts tough, but maybe he is tough, but I don't know if he's tough because you never see him
Because
actually.
Talbot doesn't come across as that guy.
No,
right?
and I give Talbot credit, though. Right?
Oh, great credit, yeah.
I give him credit for doing it.
Yeah. But I mean, it's not like Smith. I mean, I would say he almost provoked it and wanted it. Not just that fight.
Oh, yeah,
but
no, sure.
Often when he was in the crease, he wasn't shy to get engaged with other players.
Oh, no, not at all. Yep. Not at all. And, he was, I remember talking to a lot of the players, like, he was different as a goalie. Like, he really liked hanging out with the guys and was very boisterous. And, he became a pretty big leader on their team.
Yeah.
Right. Very, very highly emotional guy on a team that had a lot of quiet players.
Yeah.
Because you can't ask guys to be what they're not. Like, if you're not gregarious and outgoing, you can't suddenly say, well, we need you to be a leader, so now you got to be gregarious and outgoing. You're going to have to lead in the way that's comfortable for you.
I'm getting back to the whole goalie coach in pros. Like, I don't know if it's normal or not normal, and I know that, different goalies throughout the summer will work with other goalies, coaches from other programs.
Yeah, but Stuart Skinner's goalie coach has been Dustin Schwartz since he was like 15 years of age.
Yeah.
Right before he got into Edmonton. And Schwartz actually has worked with Tristan Jarry.
Yeah.
And has worked with other goalie coaches. But Adam Francilli is not a goalie coach. He's a strength and conditioning coach. Right. Yeah. Now, he has some very unique stuff that's specified training activities for goalies, but he's not out there saying, okay, how do we want to improve your RVH? Right. Or that's not what he does.
Yeah.
So I know there's a group of people that are just like, I want Dustin Schwartz fired. Why? Well, because he's been here too long. Like, it's the most inane, idiotic argument ever from people who have zero clue about the position. Let's be honest. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I have slightly above zero clue about the position. That's why we get Kevin Woodley on the show all the time.
Yeah.
Right. And Woodley even came on, and even when Woodley, who deals with all the goalies, like, no, Francilli's not a goalie coach. Like, no, this guy said it. Has to be true because I don't like Schwartz, so it's got to be true.
Yeah, I think people obviously want to take pokes. I mean, is there reasons for them to do it? I mean, it's hasn't been great in net. I mean, so people start to speculate and start to wonder.
But see, it's funny because people say, like, a goalie coach. So, Brownie, who was your defense coach?
What year? Like,
okay.
I had.
Okay, but why didn't he make you a number one defenseman? Because coach can't take, like, people think, well, it's a goalie coach and he should just make him great. I think I find it's comical to me. I'm like, you can only work with what you have. With what you have. And I've always, like, a coach of if you have a team that's like a B+ team, a good coach might make you an A- team. right? But you're not going to help. Guess what, guys? Let's go hire Scotty Bowman, and Scotty Bowman's going to come into the 2010 to 2015 Oilers, and suddenly they're a playoff team because Scotty Bowman's there. It's delusional.
My good friend always says you can't make a chicken bark, right? You are who you are. I agree. I'm not, hey, like Schwartzy's obviously worked with a ton of goalies, right? Not all of them we know that have had success and are having success, but absolutely. I remember playing, and you're not ready to take in the information until you're ready to take it in. And
interesting.
And I remember, I was having some success in Edmonton, and I was talking to Ethan Morrow, and he might have been going through a situation where he might have been struggling a little bit, and we were just kind of chatting. And it was actually at Millennium, and he was like, what are you doing? And so much of it is mental, and I really couldn't explain it. I didn't really know. And then there was another time where, I was struggling, and I was talking to Yanni Nienema, and he's like, you know what, Sean, like you're so close, where, there's situations where, you never want the puck to die on the end of your stick, right? Where it's a whistle or someone takes the puck and it's a turnover. And he's like, you're so close. Like there's so many plays that if you just understand and learn to put pucks in the 50-50 areas when, you don't have a play, as opposed to icing it or maybe giving it away to someone, like it's a small thing. Right. But
it's a big thing.
Huge.
Yeah.
Huge. And I was kind of like, what are you talking about, man? And it didn't.
You weren't ready to absorb that
just,
information at that point.
It sounds so simple, right?
Yeah.
But I just, it just, you're not ready to take what you're not ready to take. And, they have a lot more, there's a lot more tools available to players for them to see it. A video is a lot more coaching, like to actually coach and teach is a lot. Guys are doing a lot more now than they ever have. Right. But, I remember, getting called up and being in the Oilers and being in their practice and, being around all, Luke Richardson and Boris Mironov and all these great, NHL hockey players. Like, I don't know if anyone really taught me how to play a 2-on-1 other than the fact that I watched Luke Richardson practice after practice play a 2-on-1. I learned to play a 2-on-1 just by watching the guy, right? Watching how he positioned himself. And, I don't remember a coach actually telling me this is how you play a 2-on-1.
Interesting. Did they just assume that you're supposed to know?
I don't know. Maybe I wasn't ready for it. I mean, that's not a shot. I'm not taking a shot at any coaches or anything, because I've had a lot of great coaches that taught me a lot of great things, other things, but I just, I think to be, I always tell kids, like, you gotta be a real student of the game. Like, you gotta watch, and you gotta watch other players, and you gotta watch what they do well, what, maybe they don't do well. And more importantly, like with my son and kids that I work with, like, we watch highlights and we watch them all have success. Right. But watch when they struggle, I think. Yeah. Right. Like, listen to what Stuart Skinner was saying. Listen to what different, high-end athletes, like, they go through it too. Like, watch their body language. Watch how they take ownership of it. Right. They're not slamming a gate. They're not slamming their stick. They're not blaming the coach. They're not blaming a player. Right. They own it. And it's just a period of time. And I bet you if you were to watch and see their habits and the fact that they're probably the first one in the gym the next day, they're probably the last one, the first one on the ice. Right. They're probably, you know what I mean? Like, all those little details. Right.
Let's get one of your former teammates here on the show as we go in the room, brought to you by Next Gen Transportation, heavy haul transport provider, 100% locally owned and operated. NextGenTransportation.com. Anson Carter joins us, of course, former NHLer, played for the Oilers, and now, of course, is on the NHL on TNT. Anson, welcome to the show, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great, fellas. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Before we jump in it, too, Brownie's just every coach he played for just getting hit with strays after the comment that he was talking about. Jeez, Brownie. If you paid closer attention to the whiteboard, you would have figured out those 2-on-1s for crying out loud.
Hey, exactly. There you go. I'm telling you, it was out there. I just wasn't. That's why you had a way better career. I wasn't smart enough to catch on.
No, all jokes aside, though, I always tell people, when you get to the National Hockey League level, I mean, it's changed now. Back when we played, there wasn't a whole lot of teaching going on. You know, it's all about just X's and O's and strategy during the game. I've seen it now as the game's gotten younger and younger. You're seeing more coaches having more patience now because the NHL's become a developmental league. You know, before they thought you're a ready product once you get to the NHL, but that's all changed now. So I totally agree with everything that Brownie said about how, you know, back in the day that you learn a lot more from the guy wearing the uniform next to you than you did from the guy wearing the cheap suit standing behind you on the bench.
There's a running joke on the show, Anson. Strutty calls Brownie Silver Spoon because he was a first rounder. So I always like to joke that he was a silver spoon. You were a 10th rounder, 220th overall by the Quebec Nordiques when you were drafted in 1992, and then you spent 4 more years. You went to Michigan State University before you turned pro. When you got drafted at that point, like, were you thinking for sure I'm going to the NHL, or were you like, you know what, we'll see what happens at NCAA? Kind of, what was your mindset being a 10th rounder in 1992?
I wasn't even thinking about it. I got drafted at a Tier 2 Junior B. I got drafted, I think, the 19th round in the OHL because all the teams knew I was going to college. Jimmy Rutherford actually drafted me, Detroit Comfy, where, believe it or not, back in the day, in the 19th round, and tried to convince me to come to play in Detroit. But I decided to go the college route. And when I got drafted, I thought initially I was getting drafted the following year because that's what most guys do when they're going to college. They get drafted after your freshman year, your first year at school. But I got drafted at a Tier 2 Junior B. And when I was drafted, I actually thought it was Kevin Weeks pulling a prank on me. Because we grew up like one street apart from each other. We played minor hockey together. And I thought Weeksy was actually calling me, like pulling a prank on me. So when Donnie Boyd, the head scout from the Quebec Nordiques at the time, called me, I hung up on him at first. And he calls back. I was like, okay, Weeksy, settle down, like enough's enough. And he's like, we drafted you. I go, what round? He said, the 10th round. So I was like, no, you didn't. And I'm reading the Toronto Sun newspaper, and I've got the first, like, 4 or 5 rounds. I was like, I never got drafted. What are you talking about? And he said, no, you got drafted in the 10th. So I went downstairs, asked my dad for the second half of the sports section, and I saw my name in the 10th round. And to be honest with you guys, like, I was pissed because I was like, I'm a first rounder. Like, what's going on? I'm not drafted in the 10th round. And I finally go to school that next year. I've got a pretty good year. And I watched Kevin Adams go ahead and have a solid rookie year at Miami of Ohio. And I watched the Boston Bruins draft in the first round. I was like, that should have been me. So I just used it as fuel during my whole college career to try to get to the next level. But I never thought I was going to play in the NHL. Like, I always thought I was going to play Major League Baseball. And that's going to Michigan State University because I went to play hockey and baseball.
Really?
And if I didn't have mono, at the end of my freshman year, hockey-wise, I would have went on the spring trip and I would have played baseball. So it just so happened that I kind of lucked into it. I had mono. I couldn't go on the spring trip, and the rest is history.
Where, what were you? Pitcher, position player? What were you?
I was a shortstop. I played shortstop and I played some second base, but I played a lot of short.
That's interesting because I remember, and I think you remember the name Nerva Millard. Remember, she was with the NHL.
She still is.
Yeah. So there was a time where, remember Mitchell and Ness, the retro clothing line? So they set up an event in New York where we could take batting practice. And so it was like me, you, LaRock, I think it was Jason Doig, and some other guys. And so I was excited, for this opportunity. And I didn't really hear anything back. So I called Nerva and I was like, hey, are we still on for this batting practice? And she's like, no, nobody wants to go. And I'm like, I want to go. And so I went there and jacked out 2 homers at Shea Stadium. So who's the ball player?
They probably moved the mound up to like second base for you.
So all jokes aside, Anson, you had an amazing career and you played, with some really amazing hockey players and some, high elite IQ superstars. And, we're watching Zach Hyman play with Connor McDavid and him have the success that he's having. I can't imagine it being easy playing with these elite players. And you have. What does it take to play against, or play with these types of players?
I think, first of all, Brownie, I think everyone could play with them, and everyone thinks that it's easy, but it's really not. I think the first thing that you have to have is hockey sense. You either have it or you don't. And I watched a guy like Zach Hyman. I think that goal that he scored last night was a perfect example of all the skills. And we broke it down on TNT of why he's able to have success playing with Connor McDavid. First of all, you got to be able to skate, which he has that ability. You've got to know when to get open and to get out of his way. Because there's nothing worse than a creative player making a play. He beats his guy, then you bring your player to him, and the other defenseman switches off. So you got to be smart enough to understand when to create space and when to support. You also have to be able to retrieve pucks, and when you get those chances to finish, you got to finish. Because when you're not scoring and you're playing with these elite players, there's always someone, you got to look over your shoulder, someone to take your job. So Zach, I give him all the credit in the world. And he's really worked himself into being an elite winger, and he's fit perfectly because he's smart and he's a great skater and he just finishes. And he really does. And I've seen a lot of players get chances to play with elite players, and they have no idea where to go on the ice, or they're open one minute and then they take themselves into coverage the next minute, or they're bringing their coverage into coverage, and then the guy that has the puck is being double teamed. And they're able to switch off, and no one wins in that situation. So I think Zach's done a tremendous job, and he embraces that pressure because he learned that playing in Toronto with a guy like Austin Matthews.
Anson Carter joins us. Anson, the Oilers and the Stars last night, game one. What was when you watched that game? The Oilers, they limited Dallas. One of their bread and butters is scoring chances off the rush. They limited to 0. And, they were in control. Obviously, Dallas scores late. Then they went in overtime, a crazy overtime with a double minor, McDavid missing a wide open net, and then ultimately gets the winner. What did you make of that? What impressed you about the Oilers in that game last night? And do you think game one is repeatable for them?
I definitely think it's repeatable. I think we're going to see a better Dallas Stars team. They've lost the first game, but I think you're definitely going to see them rebound and have a better effort. That's for sure. But I love Stuart Skinner's demeanor. I heard you guys before I jumped on Brownie talking about when players are at their low point and they're struggling. And Skinner had a couple of tough games, and he had a chance to just reset and watch Pickard go in there and do his thing, and he's bounced back nicely. I mean, granted, the team's playing better in front of him, but their penalty kill, we knew going the series that special teams would be huge. But we thought we'd be talking about the Oilers' deadly power play more so than their penalty kill. And watching Desharnais and watching Nurse, it looks like a young Sean Brown out there on the PK, just putting in that work, winning battles in the corners and winning battles in front of the net. Those guys are doing a hell of a job for the Edmonton Oilers against a Dallas Stars team that are missing, Rope hits, their best centerman. So they're tough having a young kid like Wyatt Johnston, go head-to-head with a McDavid or a Draisaitl. And then you've got a guy like Dutchy, Matt Duchene, who plays a lot better lower down the lineup, but he's being forced up the lineup, along with Tyler Seguin, too, to face that two-headed monster you guys have there in Edmonton.
It's funny. I love hearing your voice. Obviously, we don't see each other a lot, and I'm just kind of thinking back to some of the times we spent together. And, I grew up in Oshawa, you grew up in Toronto, and we know the humidity and how, what that's like. And then, both of us play out here, and it's so dry. And I can just think, and all I can remember is the black man's lotion that we had in the dressing room, right? We were going through bottles and bottles of that stuff because it was so dry, right? And we were like lizards. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah. Listen, when I got traded there to Edmonton, I was in California in the off season. I just had shoulder surgery, and I was rehab, and I came up, and I remember getting off the plane there, and I was coming to practice. My first practice at the mall. And I remember looking around like, what the hell is going on? We're practicing at a mall? Not only at a mall, the place was jam-packed. And then my skin was so dry. I was like, oh, somebody get me some lotion here. What's happening? I'm not going to survive.
Yeah. So, Anson, who's your favorite team? Who's your favorite team to watch right now, and why?
Oh, I love the Panthers. I've been on their bandwagon. I thought they'd be in tough to start the year with all the injuries they'd had on the back end, with all the defensemen being out, Montour and Ekblad and those guys. But watching them overcome that the first couple months of the season, and watching the way they're playing and playing that playoff style hockey, Brownie, as you know, it's tough to sustain that for 82 games. Like, that's a grind to be committed to playing that style night in and night out. But they've got the right personnel to play that way. And then you look at Sasha Barkov. I mean, I still think he's underrated, even though he's a Selke winner. He's still underrated as far as I'm concerned. I was on television in Toronto earlier this year, and we had to choose between Austin Matthews and Barkov, and I chose Barkov, and I think I got laughed off the set. And I think Maple Leaf fans were telling me to turn in my Toronto card. But Sasha Barkov, this guy is unbelievable. Just watching him game in and game out, and his size and his skill level and his ability to set the platter, to set the table for his other teammates is second to none. And when you add that with a guy like Bobrovsky, who could be the best goaltender left in the postseason, that's a recipe for a team I think has a chance to win a championship.
Anson, always good to catch up with you, man. We appreciate it. Enjoy the playoffs.
Great catch up as well. And listen, guys, I got to give you guys a little hint here. Make sure you don't take your show on the road because Brownie hates flying.
Oh, I know. I know.
Memories, my man Brownie on the plane. And I was like, oh, I'm going to get him a cold, damp towel. He's not going to make it here.
Sweated through a few shirts, didn't he?
Absolutely.
Yeah, he said if we go on the road, he's bussing. So we'll see.
Yeah, John Madden style.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, exactly. Get a trailer. I like it. Thanks, Anson. Have a great day.
Thank you, too. Thanks again.
Goodbye.
That's Anson Carter. He's a dual scholarship athlete. Baseball, and you didn't even know that.
I didn't know that either, but it doesn't surprise me.
Did you guys ever talk as teammates? Like, hey, Anson, how's your day today? Did you have a good day today? Was it a bad day today?
No, Anson was a great guy. You know, and it doesn't surprise me because, you know, he was obviously a really good athlete. But I wanted to ask him where the Mission helmet went.
Oh,
right, because not many guys could rock the Mission helmet, right?
Well, he had the dreads coming out of it too, though, so he kind of have an advantage.
Yeah, he was a good. He had style.
Yeah.
He had not only did he have style on the ice, he had style off the ice, and you know, to add to that, he was, you know, a heck of a hockey player.
Quick break. We'll return. Jason Gregor, Sean Brown, Connor Halley with you on Sports 1440. We got Craig Button coming up a little bit later on and more.
Experience more at the Edmonton Expo Center. Come for Canada's largest trade show, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. Stay for the experience. But it doesn't end there. Maximize your brand exposure with Edmonton Expo Center's new cutting-edge feature screens, spanning Western Canada's largest venue space. Captivate an annual audience of over 1 million visitors during iconic events like Pro Rodeo, Disney on Ice, Glow, K-Days, and so much more. To learn more, call 780-660-0514 or visit EdmontonExpoCenter.com today.
Gather around the radio, kiddies, for the best time of day. It's Oodle Noodle time. Listen in this week as your noodle hero battles the barbarous Bobby Burger. Now sing along. You know the words. Oodle Noodle time. Oodle Noodle time. You know what time it is now. Get up and give me your best Oodle Noodle dance. Your best time of day is Oodle Noodle time.
Hey, Edmonton, ready to power up your projects with unbeatable strength and efficiency? Step into Edmonton Kubota, where our massive inventory meets all your needs. From rugged tractors and loaders to nimble mowers and utility vehicles, we've got the machines that work as hard as you do. And guess what? This month, we're rolling out exclusive deals that'll make your heart race faster than our engines. Drive down to Edmonton Kubota or visit EdmontonKubota.com to discover how we can boost your efficiency, productivity, and fun. Edmonton Kubota, powering your passion with every turn of the key.
The Adventure Calls event is on at GMC. Get the 2024 Sierra 1500 Elevation at 0% financing for up to 60 months. Plus, eligible Costco members can receive a $1,200 bonus on select trucks. With Sierra's available 5.3-liter V8 engine plus more cargo bed volume than any competitor, you'll have everything you need to take on any project this season, like building a brand new doghouse. That's a lot of wood. How big is this dog? Visit your local GMC dealer for details.
Sports 1440 has added another player to our lineup. Tonight, from 6 to 9, check out Turn Sports with your host, Navin Romerick. Edmonton's exclusive home of sports talk is now rolling 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
CW Eves Troughing is busy. That's why they're looking for experienced troughers to run one of their trucks. To get paid top rates, contact CW Eves Troughing at 780-435-1492 or email info@cweves.com.
What's cracking at Cattail Crossing? The Mixed and Mingle League. Join Cattail Crossing Golf and Winter Club every Thursday as they pair up males and females for a fun and social round of golf. Only $33.30 all season long. Details at cattailcrossing.ca.
Wow, get ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at ewell.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
This spring, the savings continue at the Brick. Take up to 40% off furniture and mattresses, as well as the chance to scratch and save up to an additional 40% off your purchase. Plus, you'll have the chance to win great prizes, including a $10,000 Brick shopping spree. Find amazing deals on kitchen appliances and save up to $400 on sofas, so you can prepare your ultimate game day snack and then watch the game in style. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
The Adventure Calls event is on at Chevrolet. Right now, get the 2024 Silverado 1500 RST at 0% financing for up to 60 months. Plus, eligible Costco members can receive a $1,200 bonus on select trucks. With an available 6.2-liter V8 engine and available adaptive cruise control, you can get off the open road and just enjoy the calm, quiet, scenic, great outdoors. Back to the track! Visit your local Chevrolet dealer for details.
Positive Friday. How are you, Order fans? Oh, geez, you better be in a good mood. Orders go, hey, they won game one, which doesn't happen very often. Now it's twice this year, but remember in the previous 7 series from 2020 to 2023, the Orders went 0-for-7 in game one, which is currently what the Dallas Stars are on. Now, Dallas, in their previous 6 that they lost game one, they went 4-2, and they came back and won 4 of those series, including round 1 when they're down 0-2 to Vegas and down 0-1 to Colorado. So it's one game. It definitely doesn't mean the Oilers have won the series, but I think it gives them some confidence. And I look at Dallas and Edmonton. I know everybody's been, oh, well, Colorado was better. No, they weren't. Vegas was better. No, they weren't. Edmonton's been the best team in the NHL since first 70 games heading into the playoffs. They're in the conference final. Like, I was stunned at how many people in Edmonton and how many people outside were like giving them no chance. I was like, they've been the best team in the league. What are you guys talking about? Yes, Vancouver, Edmonton made that series harder on themselves than needed to be. I think and I'm not taking anything away from Vancouver. I just think that's a more accurate assessment of what happened in that series. But the Oilers learned some stuff about themselves. Vancouver's D made it really tough. Dallas's defense is not as big, is not nearly as punishing. They are more mobile, though. But last night, like you look at Edmonton, 2 huge battles that led directly to goals. Hyman in front of the net, scores. Nugent-Hopkins beats Tanev behind the net, gets to Bouchard, McDavid, overtime winner. And that was key. The Oilers, hey, there's going to be mistakes. Right now, the Kulak one is one I would pretty confident say, I don't think Brett Kulak's going to do that again this postseason. Right. So I want to ask you this question, Brownie. So you're Brett Kulak at the time, and you're Chris Tanev. Like, the play that Kulak made was so outside the ordinary. I think it might be easier to flush than Chris Tanev's like, man, I lost a battle to Hyman. I lost a battle to Nugent-Hopkins, both directly to goals. What do you think?
Yeah, you might have a point. I mean, that 9 times out of 10, I think Kulak's making that play, right? I mean, it's,
probably 99 out of 100.
Yeah, I don't know if he's even done that at any point this year, right?
No.
So, but I mean, it's a game of mistakes. He made that mistakes, but you could argue Tanev, I mean, he made 2. He pretty much gifted the Oilers.
Yeah,
with 2
and so my
mistakes.
question is, those, like, a mistake when it's a lost battle, right, is kind of different than a missed pass. Is it not in your eyes? Like, because the other guy does have a say in the battle, where when you just miss a pass, you miss the guy's tape, like no one's stopping you from making that pass. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but I mean, although that it was.
So is it harder because that's Tanev's bread and butter? He's supposed to do that.
Yeah. I think both mistakes are equally, they're not great, right? Just because, Kulak had full control of the puck and nothing but time. And, I don't think one mistake is any worse or less than the other one. It's just, both guys, both of those plays just have to be made.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably uncharacteristic for both guys.
You're the Oilers, though. Now hey, I get that that's their best defensive pairing, but they just defend different than Vancouver, right? Like they're not as heavy on you. They don't lean on you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Vancouver's Vancouver. That's done and over with.
No,
right?
but I'm talking like if you're the Oilers,
yeah.
Is it easier to attack Dallas's defense than you think Vancouver's?
Well, I don't know if it's easier. I mean, those are, they're 5 defensemen that they're playing against. They're, even, the 6, like they're NHL defensemen. They're big, they're experienced, and they're not, I wouldn't, they're in this position because they're good defensemen. They're not easy. I think it's up to the Oilers to make it difficult, especially because they pretty much just play 5, right? And you can see that Tanev and, some of those situations, was that ending the last goal, was that, because he played too much, mentally struggle, whatever it is. I mean, time and space and hitting, it doesn't matter how much you play or who you are, it affects everyone. Right. And so, if I just think the Oilers have the players in the lineup that they can make it, if they choose to, they can make a long night. They can make it a long night for any decor.
Hey, boys, I love that I can put Sports 1440 on the radio app and listen wherever I am, whether I'm fueling up my truck or grocery shopping. Sports 1440 is always cranked up. Great, clear sound. Positive Friday from Trev. Well, Trev, thanks so much for listening. We love it. Yeah, the app's great, man. Wherever you're listening, you're watching it on YouTube and Facebook or on Twitter. It's Instagram now. Some people are watching the Sports 1440 IG. So, hey, anywhere where you consume the show, listen, watch. We truly appreciate it. Thanks so much for everybody who has supported it. And now we're 24/7, which is fantastic. Guys, one quick one for you and Brownie. The Oilers penalty kill. How do you think Dallas is going to change? And so it's funny that you mentioned that, Cliff, because I'll give my answer, then I'll let Brownie. So I was watching the first few power plays in regulation, and then I watched in overtime, and there was a clear difference in their overtime power play. Because, well, first of all, there was a lot of face-offs, and they actually won some face-offs, so that helped their power play to begin with. But number 2, if you watch in overtime, Robertson, Dananoff, they all were shooting from the left side. And not necessarily looking to get a great scoring chance. Like Robertson's first shot that hit the post, he was shooting short side. It hit off of the skate of Desharnais and went to the far post, right? He wasn't aiming at the far post. That's where the puck went. Then on the ensuing faceoff, they get around. That's when he shot short side. It hit the outside of the post. Wasn't really close to scoring, but he still hit the outside of the post. They kept wanting to shoot there, and Edmonton was like, and then Wyatt Johnson even had one on the right flank. It was almost like Edmonton said, hey, no, you guys want to shoot from there all day. Because Dallas, I looked at their numbers. They're a pretty good rebound team, scoring on rebounds. But Skinner, A, wasn't giving up any rebounds from those shots. And then B, when he didn't just swallow up the puck, he was deflecting it right in the corner. Right? Edmonton did a great job in the first 3 periods of just not limiting zone entries. And they had really good sticks. And then after that, Dallas was like, we win a face-off. And every time within the first 8 seconds, Brownie, they were trying to get a shot on goal. So I don't know, Dallas is eventually going to score a power play goal. I guess I shouldn't say that. LA didn't score one, but odds are eventually they'll score one. But I look at what they want to do, and they have smaller guys in front against Ekholm and Desharnais and Nurse and Ceci. I think that's actually a good ploy. If I'm Edmonton, I'll say, you guys want to shoot from the outside? We'll take our chances. Unless you're hoping to get an ugly goal off a deflection of a leg or something, I think Edmonton's comfortable playing that way. As a defenseman, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think if anything, we're seeing that there's no shot is a bad, there's no bad shots. I mean, it's just about getting pucks to the net. I mean, a goal is a goal. It doesn't matter how pretty it is. And I think that, you look at Sagan's goal, it's just anytime you can throw the puck to the net is a good thing. And I think it doesn't really matter. It matters, but it doesn't really matter. Once a guy gets body position in front of the net, whether you're Stan Coven or it doesn't matter who you are, once you got set up, nobody's moving and just grabbing someone and moving them away. Once you get body position, they get body position, right? And so, that's all you're trying to establish as an offensive guy is get to the position that you want to. And as a defenseman, I'm trying to be one step ahead of you to not let you get into that spot. Because once you get into that spot, instead of one guy screening the goalie, it's another guy, right? Just, because the game happens so quick, you just don't have time. So, if I'm Dallas, I'm continually trying to get pucks on that, taking away the goalie's eyes. And, it doesn't, for me, it wouldn't be how pretty it is. It's just the focus on getting in there. But, you touched on it earlier about, they're doing such a good job in the neutral zone of just denying the entry, right? I mean, it's just
and high.
It's unheard of. They've killed a 4-minute penalty
6 consecutive times.
Yeah, and then if you think back to, when they did that against the Canucks there, did they get a shot or
no?
They might have got. Oh, they didn't even get a.
No.
Like it was painful. Why I was up.
That's when Connor Brown had the breakaway.
Yeah, and I was up there watching, and I was in the press box and I was watching. I think what's their goalie coach, Ian Clark, I think his name is, and the Sundins and their coaching staff, and they were losing it up there, right? And
well, the Sundins especially, they're like, "What are you talking about? You guys can't even get set up."
And it's just amazing that we're watching. At that point, it was Pedersen and the defenseman there, Hughes, who are elite skating, puck moving, skilled players, not able to enter the zone, and then McDavid's going through it like a hot knife through butter.
Yeah.
Like it's no big deal.
Well, even Dallas last night, like Edmonton's twice, I saw Desharnais just gets right up on the boards, boom, they break it down, and then 2 seconds later, Ekholm's pounding down the ice, and Matthias Janmark's sticks at the blue line on the penalty kill has been outstanding.
Yeah, and you look at the size of that human, and then with his stick, and you got Desharnais, you got Nurse, right? I mean, those are the small details that I think every coach is talking about, right? It's not that they're just there, right? But they have good active sticks, and if you can do that, and it breaks up so many plays. And I think the biggest word that we're hearing in post-game interviews is connected.
Yeah.
Right there, everyone is reading off of the first guy, the second guy, and the third guy, right? And so, when guys once again are predictable and you can count on them to do your job, then the second guy and the third guy and so on, it just makes it so easy. That uncertainty, I can anticipate. I know, okay, Gregor, you're going to do this, which now I'm going to, and now you're jumping and you're on your toes, right? And when you're on your toes and you're jumping and you're able to anticipate, right? We're seeing the results of it. I mean, it's and the biggest thing, they're committed to blocking shots. They're committed to being in the shooting, and that's probably that's the biggest ask.
Jason Gregor, Sean Brown with you on Sports 1440. When we return, we'll do the draw. Somebody's going to win the big patio party for 50. Then we got Craig Button coming up and much, much more after Connor Halley. Sports 1440 update brought to you by Fountain Tire. Stop in around here. You can save up to $200 off a set of 4 tires, including Goodyear's, right now at Fountain Tire. Stop in your local location or check online at fountaintire.com.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Game 2 of the Eastern Conference Final goes tonight from Madison Square Garden as the Rangers look to even up their series with the Panthers down 1 game tonight. Puck drop coming just after 6 o'clock off the ice. Carolina Hurricanes announcing today that President and General Manager Don Waddell resigned from his position with the organization. The team named Eric Tulsi as the interim general manager as they look for a permanent person to fill that role. Waddell joined the Hurricanes as president back in July of 2014 and oversaw the team's business operations each of the last 10 seasons. And the Vancouver Canucks announcing today that they've hired Manny Malhotra as the head coach of their AHL affiliate, the Abbotsford Canucks. In the association, we've got Game 2 of the Western Conference Final. Timberwolves and Mavericks meeting in Minneapolis. That one gets going at 6:30. Major League Baseball, the Blue Jays are in action, taking on the Detroit Tigers. In Detroit, that gets going in about 40 minutes' time. You also have the Braves in Pittsburgh. Nationals up against the Mariners. The Dodgers in Cincinnati. Giants take on the Mets. White Sox host the Orioles. Cubbies taking on the Cards. The Guardians in Anaheim. Athletics host the Astros. And the Marlins take on the Diamondbacks. Game 1 of the Memorial Cup goes tonight in Saginaw. The host Spirit taking on the Moose Jaw Warriors. Puck drop at 5:30. PWHL Championship Series. Minnesota hosting Boston. That series tied at a game each. And you got the Fever taking on the Sparks in the WNBA. Coming up in hour 3 of the Jason Gregor Show, We will be joined by Craig Button from the NHL on TSN and Ask 5 Questions. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Radio station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Your love for strawberries is very passionate, you say. Just wait till you get your next taste of Booster Juice. The new strawberry blush smoothie made with strawberries, bananas, vanilla oat, and vanilla frozen yogurt will make you fall in love. And there's no tea like the Strawberry Serenity Teaser, a blend of strawberry juice, green tea, and honey. And for a tasty treat to go perfectly with your berry obsession, the Strawberries and Cream Booster Ball has returned like your favorite dream. Visit a Booster Juice near you today or download the Booster Rewards app.
A solid financial plan is made up of more than just investments. Investments are an important part, but you need a more comprehensive approach. Vincent Pearson at Weird Pearson Akel & Associates Private Wealth Management understands that. He can help build a plan that includes retirement, estate planning, personal insurance, tax strategies, and yes, investments. Talk to him today and see the difference a real financial plan makes. Weird Pearson Akel & Associates. Call 780-988-4119 or visit weirdadvisoryteam.com.
Christensen Communities, the name in active adult living. Enjoy retirement living without compromise. At Christensen, we understand that each lifestyle is unique. We are committed to providing choice through optional dining, personal services, recreation programs, and care plans to suit your current and future needs. Enjoy maintenance-free living and build new friendships in a safe, independent community. Large suites with full kitchens and in-suite laundry, on-site amenities, and so much more. Find out more today about our communities across the province at cdlhomes.com.
Sports 1440 has added another player to our lineup. Tonight, from 6 to 9, check out Turn Sports with your host, Navin Romerick. Edmonton's exclusive home of sports talk is now rolling 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
What's cracking at Cattail? Maybe you've got the next tiger on your hands. Cattail Crossing offers young golfers Operation 36, a program to improve their growing skill set with other golfers their age. To register, email proshop@cattailcrossing.ca.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need: Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
The full-service provider of heavy haul transportation and rigging at the highest level. Next Gen Transportation.
We're developing new and innovative ways to transport oversized and overweight equipment to remote and challenging locations.
Our Next Gen team leads with a wealth of experience and expertise. But most importantly, we put safety first, so everyone gets home safely.
We also take great pride in supporting our local community programs and teams. Good luck to everyone this season and in the year ahead.
Visit nextgentransportation.com.
For a limited time at McDonald's, enjoy the tasty breakfast trio. Your choice of chicken or sausage McMuffin or McGriddles with a hash brown and a small premium roast coffee for $5 plus tax. Available until 11 a.m. at participating McDonald's restaurants. Price excludes delivery.
Scott here from Sherwood and St. Albert Dodge. It's our biggest sale of the year. This month, every new and used vehicle we have has been marked down and priced to sell. We have Ram trucks that are 25% off, brand new trucks, and we have hundreds to choose from. We have 0% financing up to 72 months on Grand Cherokee. Even though we know our prices are great, every single offer will be considered. We will work to get you the best financing terms. We will pay top dollar for your trade. We will do what it takes to earn your business. It's our biggest sale of the year, and it's on now at St. Albert and Sherwood Dodge.
We continue on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube and Facebook. How are you? Positive Friday. Gregor Show is always presented by PlayAlberta.ca. And hey, if you're thinking positive, how about this 70 mil up for grabs in Max Million tonight? Lotto Max, there's a 12 Max Mil. Good luck. Good luck. I hope it's one of you. Get your tickets at PlayAlberta.ca. Just remember the rule. This is like an unwritten rule amongst all of our Sports 1440 listeners. If you win the Max Million, you have a party for Sports 1440. I think that's totally valid. You got 70 mil, man. I'll be like, well, I'll host a party. I don't care. Blow 100 grand. You got 70 mil. Won't be that hard. Yeah. Wow. I don't need to make a donation. Just have fun. Be good. And by the way, it would definitely be, like an old school wedding where, you know what? It's not a toonie bar. Let's just say that. So those are the rules. Those are the unwritten rules for Sports 1440 crew. Hopefully you get a ticket at PlayAlberta.ca. Now, I have our draw jar here. You can hear we got the 20 entries in. We got the last ones in from Bob and Pete earlier today. So that's fantastic. So the winner again, big thanks to Delta Valley Landscaping. So they donated the lounge, which is 50 seats. It'll be on Saturday, June 15th. It's Edmonton. They're playing Victoria. And you will be there. It's perfect sight line. You're right on the third base line. I know Brownie's a big baseball guy. Allegedly hit 2 home runs at Shea Stadium. So we'll see. We'll see. Foul. But and also 50 beer bats. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's like the bat. It's in shape of a bat and it's beer. It's basically 2 beers in one. It's huge. So basically you're going to get like 100 beers. And a few people from your group will be selected to participate in the in-game competitions, which are quite fun. So I'll draw one of the names out of the trusty bin. We'll spin it all around. Brownie, you're watching. Don't want anyone to think that it's rigged. And our winner today, Doug Avery. Congratulations, Doug. There we go. There's a lot of clapping in studio. It's Positive Friday. I like it. Deck's a big loud clapper there. I like it. So, how many tickets? 50. Well, maybe you do. But maybe you give it to your son for his yeah. maybe you give it to your son for his hockey team, right? And they're like, oh, family party.
Yeah.
Right. But you could find 50 friends when there's 50 beer bats.
Yeah. Well, Doug, I'm your friend. I'll slug one of those beer bats down.
So thanks everyone else for donating to help out Gregor Foundation. Also, Delta Valley Landscaping has agreed to match. So that'll be, instead of 2,000, we'll make 4,000. So nice.
I love the River Valley. I love taking my bike down there. The trails down there are just outstanding. It's like a hidden little gem down there.
Oh, it is beautiful, man. Like the River Valley. My son took a bike camp. And because of it, they went on all these trails. And he's like, hey, I'll take you guys. So we went down there and I was blown away. There's parts of I'd never even beat on before. And it was amazing. A little bit of mountain biking kind of right in the city. That's what makes the River Valley so amazing. Is literally, if you're a mountain bike, you can go in there and, oh man, Pete something is the name. There's one little track in there. And then it went all the way around because we started by Fort Edmonton. Yep. And then we ended up all the way in like past the Terwilliger Dog Park. It was unreal. I loved it. So yes, if you're looking to do something now, it's biking weather, man. It's fantastic. And even if you're just a walker, there's unbelievable trails.
Have you taken a canoe or a kayak or anything down there?
On the North Saskatchewan?
Yeah.
Many years ago, I rode in a boat down there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I've never done a canoe or kayak.
Okay. I went on a paddleboard and it was amazing.
Like standing up paddleboard?
Yeah. It was amazing. It was one of the best things I've ever done. Actually, I didn't realize how beautiful how beautiful it was and how cool it was to kind of come around the corner and just see the downtown Edmonton.
So where did you start? By Devon?
No, just by the old Fort Edmonton there.
Oh, right by Fort Edmonton. Okay.
So it was funny. I went with a couple buddies and my one buddy. So we parked in one spot, right? And then we drove up there, got in, went down, and then we drive back. But he forgot his paddle. He went down with my hockey. I had a hockey stick in the back of my truck. So he went down in the back of my truck and it was nice. The water was barely moving. Took our time and just had a couple of drinks, chatting, it was probably one of my best days.
Yeah. Oh, I know lots of people have done it.
I'm not a water guy too. At first, when I got in there, I was like,
I was just gonna
I'm
say,
gonna die.
Yeah, like
I thought I was
you'd
gonna die.
You'd be scared.
I was scared, like really, really scared. It took me probably 40 minutes to get my heart rate down and just relax and know that I was safe. And I had a life jacket and stuff like that. But I was it's so much bigger when you're out there, right? And I was like, I might die here. But yeah, what a good time.
You can float though, can you?
I hope so.
Do you know how to swim?
Yeah, everyone knows how to swim. I just don't.
No, that's not true. But
it's a life skill.
Well, it should be. It's a very important one, but not everybody can do it. Like how far do you think you could swim?
I don't.
Comfortably. Like, could you go?
No, I mean,
like, but now it's obviously different if you have to swim.
Yeah.
Like if it's for survival, or just like where you're like, okay, you know what? Could you go like 6 lengths of a pool back and forth?
I could probably muscle it out, doggy paddle. Actually, it's funny when I met my wife, she's a really, really good swimmer. And, being a cocky athlete, I just thought I was great at everything. And so we went, I forget where we were at a hotel. We were out somewhere and we went swimming. And I was like, hey, let's race there and back. She's like, yeah, no problem. And
absolutely crushed you.
Crushed me. So I start off just, you don't realize when you don't have great technique, you're just wasting energy, right? So I come out of the water and I'm just, shoulders are burning. I'm out of breath. And she's just cruising. So yeah, I mean, to be with someone and to see someone that actually has the skill, when you're not just trying to brute, but
that's hard. You can't really power your way through swimming for a long distance.
It's kind of funny now that we went skiing. We went up during the All-Star break. We went up to Jasper. And I didn't grow up skiing because I was always playing hockey. And so we had to rent everything. I didn't bring anything and we weren't planning on it. So I rent everything and I rent the skis and you got to fill out this form. Right. And it was beginner, intermediate.
So you put
pro.
expert?
I put pro, like expert, thinking that I get the fastest, best skis.
No.
Not the fact that they screw your boots in. And if you fall, they're not going to come undone.
Yeah.
And so my wife looks at it and she's like, you ski before? And I'm like, no. She's like, well, you're not an expert. And I was like, but I want the best skis. And she's like, that's not how it works. And she married me.
Oh yeah. Well, she's like, it can only go up from here.
Yeah.
It's basically, she's like,
I fooled her.
I will be able to mold this mind very easily. Very easily.
I can't wait. I can't wait for the dinner that we have that someone has won. I can't remember who. Jill has won. And is your wife going? Do I get a chance to meet her?
No, I think it was just.
Is it just guys?
Yeah, it was just you, me, and Struds.
Oh, I thought the wives were coming.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so I'm not going to.
No, but
one of these days I'm going to meet her.
I think you. Well, I don't want to say that on air. It might be misspoke, but I think you're actually getting invited to a house party. So I saw your name on a list. So
I'm getting invited.
Yeah, I think you're getting invited to a house party. So,
yeah,
coming up. So we'll see. I could be wrong. I saw my invite. I just thought I saw your name on it. So if you don't get one, don't take it personally. Okay, don't take it personally. Maybe it was a different Sean Brown.
I'm in the circle. I'm finally in the circle.
I know a few Sean Browns. So maybe it's a different Sean Brown on that invite list. So my apologies to the host of the party. Quickly, the orders and the stars. Hey guys, do you think after watching game 1, what would Edmonton have to do better? Because I think Dallas will play better. That comes in from Frank. It's a good question. You're right. Like, it's not like Edmonton just says, hey, we're going to play exactly the same way. Like, obviously you want to limit the chances off the rush. I think they'd like to emulate that. I think it's difficult to assume they're just going to have 0, right? And I think Dallas will be better in that regard. But I also think Edmonton can be better at putting Dallas into situations to take penalties. Like, honestly, I didn't recall any that were obvious. Like, I can't believe they got away with that type of penalty. Like, I thought the Bouchard slash was a terrible call. I'm like, that's not a penalty. Like, he hit him on the knee, right? Like, that's not called. So I know people said, well, the Holloway breakaway, Harley had one hand on his stick and he gave him a slash. I'm like, if you are agreeing that the Bouchard call is soft, then you don't really want to make up call. Right? 2 wrongs don't make it right. Kerry Fraser always said that when we used to have him on the reffing show. He'd say, hey, if you screwed up, you need to own it as an official and say, hey, you know what? Yeah, that was a bad call. I missed it. But I'm not going to make up for it by making another bad call. right? The old adage, 2 wrongs don't make it right. But when I watched the game, like I didn't see a lot of egregious. Did you see ones where you're like, I can't believe that wasn't a penalty against the Stars? Like I didn't really see any.
No.
So I think the one area Edmonton can improve is put Dallas in more uncomfortable positions.
Defensively?
Just to make them have to take a penalty.
Yeah. Especially because, I mean, they have the skill, right?
Mhm.
I mean, anytime, McDavid and Draisaitl, like the best thing, for those guys is to have the puck and make those guys, right, defend them because they're so unpredictable. They skate so well and they protect the puck so well. They're so strong on their skates that I think, any time that they can spend, as much time holding pucks in the offensive zone will, obviously give them the best chance to kind of create those scenarios. And, so that's probably one thing. And honestly, it's just getting to continue to get pucks to the net, right? And just the importance of getting pucks to the net and making sure you have traffic because, it's just, you see it more now than ever. I mean, pucks are going off guys' skates or going off the shin pads. It's just, there's nothing sexy and pretty in the playoffs, especially at this point in time, right? So anytime you can get traffic there and get pucks there, right, consistently, that's going to be important.
Yeah. Because hey, it seems like there's almost a goal a game that's going off somebody's skate. Just how it goes at this type of year, right? Because there's more bodies in front of the net than there normally is, and I think there's more. Even though there wasn't a lot of shots early, there ended up being a fair amount of shots, but there wasn't a lot of shots early, and I think the pace of the game will be quicker early. Then they kind of had a feeling out process, right? Then Edmonton got up. Obviously, they would love to avoid the and like I said, the easiest thing to improve on is that I'll guarantee you money. Brett Kulak won't have that happen to him again.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to see Dallas's best game, right? I mean, they're going to throw everything and they're going to come, with speed and they're going to be uncomfortable. And,
even if they come with speed though, they're not a faster team than Edmonton.
Yeah, but I mean, I guarantee you Ben's going to be out there looking for blood.
Yeah. He'll probably be more physical.
Yeah, he's going to be very uncomfortable. That's going to, drag Marchman in and some other guys too. So, the key, I guess, also would be to continue to, play quick as Knobloch and how they want to play is, play fast, play predictable and get it going in the opposition's zone.
Quick break. We'll come back. Craig Button will join us on the Jason Gregor Show with Sean Brown and Connor Halley on Sports 1440 Oilers Nation, YouTube and Facebook, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Hold on to your hockey helmet, Edmonton. On the Rocks is serving up 60-cent wings that fly off the plate faster than a slap shot.
And Molson Canadian for $4.50.
OTR's TVs, they're so clear.
You'll see the puck better than the ref.
Plus, every game night during Edmonton's playoff run gives you a chance to be part of the Sack Attack.
You could win a Hyman jersey.
This is our year.
And our time to cheer.
Be a part of the legend.
On the Rocks. On the Rocks.
Jasper Ave 118.
The playoffs are wild. We all know that. And this year, Play Alberta is making it even wilder. Make a deposit with promo code Gregor50 to snag a $50 free sports bet with your next deposit. Get ready for unbeatable promotions throughout the playoffs with 10+ odds boost on every Oilers playoff game. Score a chance to win a pair of lower bowl or even exclusive sweet tickets for an Oilers playoff game just by making a bet on an Oilers playoff game at playalberta.ca. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
Bringing every project to life requires the right team. By joining the Japa Machinery Group service or sales teams, you can be part of setting a new industry standard. Celebrating a legacy of excellence with Japa. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
Building or renovating, you want to work with someone who sees and understands your vision. BIE Engineering is a family-owned, experienced structural engineering consulting firm serving commercial and residential clients in Edmonton and surrounding area. Homeowner or large company, they'll work with you to help see your ideas through. BIE Engineering can help prevent problems, deliver solutions, and minimize your risk. BIE Engineering. Request a quote for your project today. Visit BIEENG.com.
Sports 1440 has added another player to our lineup. Tonight, from 6 to 9, check out Turn Sports with your host, Navin Romerick. Edmonton's exclusive home of sports talk is now rolling 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Gather around the radio, kiddies, for the best time of day. It's Oodle Noodle time. Listen in this week as your noodle hero battles the barbarous Bobby Burger. Now sing along. You know the words. Oodle Noodle time. Oodle Noodle time. You know what time it is now. Get up and give me your best Oodle Noodle dance. Your best time of day is Oodle Noodle time.
The Adventure Calls event is on at GMC. Get the 2024 Sierra 1500 Elevation at 0% financing for up to 60 months. Plus, eligible Costco members can receive a $1,200 bonus on select trucks. With Sierra's available 5.3-liter V8 engine plus more cargo bed volume than any competitor, you'll have everything you need to take on any project this season, like building a brand new doghouse. That's a lot of wood. How big is this dog? Visit your local GMC dealer for details.
As a business owner, you know that good business is based on good relationships. So imagine, how would you feel if your commercial insurance was driven by people, not products? At High Street Insurance, we've been serving Canadian businesses like yours for 10 years. People, taking care of people. We take the time to learn about your business so we can ensure that your insurance coverage is finely tuned to the nuances of your commercial situation. Good protection starts with understanding you. Reach out to us today at highstreetinsurance.com. Cruise through summer with a sleek new Mitsubishi from Cross Mitsubishi.
Explore the largest 2024 Mitsubishi inventory in Western Canada,
including the dynamic Outlander PHEV and the sporty Eclipse Cross.
At Cross Mitsubishi, you'll get 0% financing on all our 2024 models, including the RVR and Mirage.
Plus, every Mitsubishi comes with a 10-year, 160,000-kilometer powertrain limited warranty.
Visit Cross Mitsubishi today and drive your ambition.
9605 34th Avenue and crossmitsubishi.ca.
The Toronto Blue Jays are on Sports 1440. Every weekend, catch all the action with play-by-play announcer Ben Schulman. The Blue Jays, this Saturday and Sunday on Sports 1440. Edmonton's home for all things sports.
Japa Machinery Group knows that XCMG may not roll off the tongue, but Japa's team will help keep your construction jobs rolling on time and on budget with heavy equipment sales and rentals. Visit japamachinery.com to find out more.
$429. Welcome back, Gregor Brown. Halley with you. Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube and Facebook. Oilers, of course, on the ice briefly today, and then they will get set to take on the Dallas Stars tomorrow, a little bit earlier of a start. And how was it last night? Puck drop was 6:40 Edmonton time. It's like a dream. It's like, what is happening? And it went to overtime, and you're still done by 10 o'clock. Like, imagine if that game would have started at 8:50 last night. All of you would have been slugging it out till midnight, just to be like, this is the worst. So that's the good news about the conference finals and the Stanley Cup final. When you live in the Mountain Time Zone, it's basically going to be the 6 o'clock, anywhere, I guess 6:40 starts. So that's good. Tomorrow, though, is a 6 o'clock broadcast, which is probably like a 6:10 puck drop, maybe 6:20. We'll see. So either way, though, early for what you used to in the first two rounds. Let's get to the playoff report now, brought to you by Action Electrical. Whether it's projects, the service, energy and solar, preventative maintenance for your electrical distribution, they have it all. 50 years of experience. Great company to work for. ActionElectrical.net. They can help make your project look great. As Craig Button from TSN, Stanley Cup winning member of the Dallas Stars back in 1999, also now ace analyst and scout for TSN. Craig, give me your thoughts. Game one in the Western Conference final. What stood out?
Well,
I mean, there's a number of things that stood out, but I think the statement that I like to make, and I think that this speaks volumes about where the Edmonton Oilers find themselves. They're a team. They're not a 5-player team. Everybody on that team now understands what they need to do to help the team win. And Chris Knobloch relies on every single player. Every single player knows that they're valued by the coach and by their teammates. And when you watch them play, they just stay in the game. They stay settled. I mean, we can talk about signature moments in the game. We can talk about the penalty kill again. We can talk about Stuart Skinner being excellent. But when I watch the Edmonton Oilers and the defensive play that they have deployed and employed since Chris Knobloch got in there, it's carrying the day. And if you want to win, you need to be a team. That's a team. That's a team that's committed to doing. I mean, I'm watching. I'm in Saginaw for the Memorial Cup, and I'm watching last night. Connor McDavid on the winning goal. That starts with a defensive play on the left wing hash mark at the circle, where he comes underneath the puck and gets the puck and then gets it moving the other way. And then, of course, we saw how he finished it. But to me, that is where the Edmonton Oilers have really progressed in terms of understanding we can win games in different ways, and we're committed to being able to do different things to help the team win. Really, really impressive.
Craig, does Stuart Skinner's performance last night change in how you feel in his ability to, continue to play at that level, or maybe is there a question mark?
I'm sorry. I don't know how to say this, Sean. So I'm gonna use some letters. I think that Stuart Skinner has been unfairly maligned. I think that Stuart Skinner, the narrative around Stuart Skinner is BS. What Stuart Skinner has done since November 13th, again, when Chris Knobloch came in, good defensive play. Stuart Skinner's numbers are good. If you want to include the numbers from early on in the year, good. Well, include all the numbers for all the players and all the teams. What was Connor McDavid, 140th in scoring? So we're going to keep slagging Connor McDavid. 2 must-win games. You lose and you go home. 1 on the road. He wins. Goes into Dallas. I mean, early on in that game last night, he was excellent. Then he had to make some saves later on in the game. I have no issues with. I don't know what people expect of Stuart Skinner. Do they expect Dominik Hasek? You don't need Stuart Skinner to go out there and win games and stand on his head. You just need Stuart Skinner to go and be himself. I thought after Game 3, when Chris Knobloch made the change to Calvin Pickers versus Vancouver, it was more about getting Stuart Skinner kind of back reset. He'd hit a little bump in the road. Goaltenders hit bumps in the road, Sean. You know that. But do I have any issues with Stuart Skinner? No. And I think the narrative around him being able to help you win, it's all going to come down to Stuart Skinner, I don't see it that way. I see Stuart Skinner as a big part of the Edmonton Oilers' success, and I don't have any doubts about it.
Craig Button from TSN joins us. The Oilers did a great job of limiting the Stars to 0 scoring chances off the rush. They were 4th best team in the NHL in the regular season at that. It's something that they like to do. We had Brent Severn on earlier thinking, hey, there's lots of Dallas's game that they didn't like and, use the rust factor. I'm not a real big buyer of the rust. It's not like the Edmonton Oilers were have a week off and they were leading 4-1, 26 minutes left in the game. They didn't look rusty and then they fell apart. So I'm not necessarily a big believer in the rust factor. What did you make of how Dallas played? Do you think there was noticeable areas of their game that they can vastly improve?
Okay, so when you get to this point, Jason, in the playoffs, there's 4 teams. So there's 2 teams vying to get to the Stanley Cup final. The opportunities that you're going to get are going to be far less frequent than in previous rounds and certainly during the regular season. So you have to recognize when opportunity comes, and then you have to be ultra dialed in to those types of opportunities. The Dallas Stars, I mean, like you think about the tying goal. I mean, it just kind of squirts off of Darnell Nurse's skate right over to Sagan. So, is that what the Dallas Stars need to do more of? You just talked about where the Edmonton Oilers defensively, really stymied the Stars. No rush chances against the team that tries. So the Edmonton Oilers know what they're playing against. So they're going to say, we're going to try to take this away from you. So when you play really good defense, I believe that what you got to do is dig into the game. And Dallas is a good defensive team. I'm not so sure there's anything they can do. It's a 1-goal game in overtime. They hit 2 posts on the power play on that 4-minute penalty to Connor McDavid. So it's not like they're that far off. But for me, watching the game, I'm going, this is what I expect between 2 really good teams. I expect it to be back and forth. I expect it to be competitive. I expect it to be hard. So I don't think there's anything. I mean, I could say, yeah, the Edmonton Oilers have got to find a way to hang on to a lead. Dallas Stars got to find a way to score the first goal. That was a good hockey game last night, and it was 2 good teams going at it. And the game's going to be played on the margins. You're not going to get a lot of chances to score goals. So when you do get those chances, you're going to have to be really dialed into the opportunity and try to take advantage of it. So is there anything they can do significantly better? I guess, yeah, they can win a game. That's what the Edmonton Oilers' job is. Now, I don't buy the rust thing either.
Yeah, I don't buy it at all. I know you're at the Memorial Cup, which of course begins tonight, Craig. First time ever in CJHL history where all 3 leagues were won in sweeps. We had the Moose Jaw Warriors, first time ever. You got Drummondville, you got London. Of course, it's in Saginaw. Give me your assessment. All these teams are going to be rested. I can't remember the last time where each team's coming in with a full week of rest. They should all be chomping at the bit, ready to go. I don't think there's going to be any rust. So who do you like in this tournament?
Oh, there's going to be a lot of rust, Jason. Like, that's what's going to happen. I'm kidding. I saw Dale Hunter last night. He goes, we just want to play. We don't get a chance to play till Saturday. I said, well, why did you have to go sweep Oshawa? You could have kept playing. And he laughed, right? Like, hey, I think it's great. It gives the coaches a chance to really dial into the opponents. It gives the players a chance to rest and get rejuvenated and, kind of heal up a little bit of the bumps and bruises. These are really good teams. I mean, here's the playoff record of London, 16-2. Playoff record of Drummondville, 16-3. Playoff record of Moose Jaw, 16-4. And these are 3 really good teams. And Saginaw is a really good team. So you've got 4 really good teams combined for the Memorial Cup, and their skill, their star power, well-coached teams. They really, I would say that London, I would give London the nod to be the favorite, but any one of these teams can win the Memorial Cup. And I think it speaks to not only how talented they are and how good they are, but also that how close they are. These teams are close. There's not very much separating any of these 4 teams.
Craig, is there out of the 4 teams? I mean, obviously these guys have played a lot of hockey, and there's a lot of wear and tear. Is there, out of the 4 teams, is there a team that you think might be a little bit more vulnerable than another team that could be a concern?
I don't think so, Sean. I really don't, because and I'm looking at key players, right? Like, I mean, when you have injuries and we hear the mantra next player up and everything that goes with that, but when you lose a player that's a key top player, yeah, you can put another player in the uniform, but that's a significant absence. When it's somebody a little bit lower in the lineup, another player can come in and give you some minutes. But when you lose the minutes of top players, whether it be on the blue line or up front, heaven forbid it's in the net, but you're losing something significant. None of these teams have that issue. Maverick Lamoureux, who was a first-round draft pick of the Arizona Coyotes, now the Utah Hockey Club, had shoulder surgery. He was, but Drummondville's been playing without him for 2.5 months. So it's not like they have to deal with his absence. They've been dealing with it, and I just said their record in the playoffs was 16-3. So as it gets to the best players, the top players, the star players, I don't see anybody that's vulnerable, Sean.
You look at the skill level, like there's some really skilled teams in this tournament. Moose Jaw, Craig, it's a great story because it's their first time ever at the Memorial Cup, first time they've ever won the Western Hockey League. They got a few local guys, of course, Matt Savoy. They got a lot of top picks on that team. And, we've seen this tournament. A lot of it just comes down to, you got to be ready, right? Like you can't feel your way into it. Otherwise, you can find yourself done after 3 games. What we saw, the Furcus Circus and Moose Jaw and Matejchuk and they're, Savoy and that whole team, like they're one of the more skilled teams I've ever seen, top end guys. You don't see that many high end first rounders on one team going to the Memorial Cup, at least from the Western League anyway.
No, I agree with you. And And if you think back, like last year, Seattle got there. I mean, Winnipeg had a good team. They ended up losing to Seattle. They had Geeky, they had Savoy. I mean, they had some good players there. But when you talk about high end, you have the defenseman of the year in the Western Hockey League getting a paycheck. You have the most valuable player in the regular season in Jagger Furcus and the leading scorer. You have Matty Savoy, who's a big time talent. You have Braden Yeager, who's a big time. It's like Portland came into the series versus Moose Jaw in the Western Hockey League final, and yeah, they've been playing well. Like, they could not match the skill and the high-end skill of Moose Jaw. Moose Jaw's high-end skill, and they have depth, and we know that, but that high-end skill you talked about, Jason, it's impressive, and it performs, and it makes it really difficult for opponents to keep those players in proverbial check, because they're difference makers. They're not just high-end players that have been drafted in the first round. They're players that are difference makers. And when you get into big games, you get into tournaments such as the Memorial Cup, you need difference makers. And Moose Jaw has that.
Craig, as always, great to catch up with you, man. Enjoy the Memorial Cup and the NHL playoffs. We'll talk to you next Friday.
Yeah, thanks. You guys have a great weekend.
There you go. Butts is right in the middle of it. You can tell. There's lots of ambient noise in the background there.
It amazes me what he does. Like he's everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what a skill, and he's so good at that everything he does. It'd be interesting to know, you know, the little tricks of what it takes, you know, just to know that many players from all the different leagues.
Well, he was a scout for many years, right? So he's, I remember him and I went for beer, and he was showing me he's got like a database, right, on and like he'll still have scouting reports. Like, remember, he has, like, when he gets former players on, he's like, oh yeah, I can, you know, he'll, if he knows they're coming on, he'll quickly go through his file. He still has,
well, if you don't want to know,
scouting reports on some guy. Yeah.
I had a friend, when I was helping out with the Oil Kings and running into, you know, former players and scouts, and Danny Marr, who used to be, when I was going through the, you know, my draft, he used to be with the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Okay.
And so he would come to practice, and I created a relationship with him, and he was, you know, I talked to him a lot. And so anyway, it had been a long time since I had seen him. And so when I ran into him, I said, hey, Danny, like, I have a son now. Like, I would love to be able to, you know, share some of the notes and things that you had on me. And he just looked at me, and he's like, are you sure you want to see them? And I was like, all right, I guess not, you know, but yeah, it'd be cool to look back and actually see, you know, the different things, your strengths, your weaknesses. And, you know, but what amazes me is with, you know, Craig Button and those guys that have been around hockey, you know, their whole life, is they never forget a name. They don't forget a name. They don't forget a player. It's just, I find that just amazing.
Yeah. Oh, wow. You know, it's kind of, you focus on guys so often, you watch them enough that I think you just do it.
Yeah.
Right.
But for me, I kind of got away from it. Like when I went to Europe, like I was so dialed in on hockey. I knew I knew everything about the league. But when I went to Europe, I just, you know, for me, I kind of stepped away and stopped watching it, stopped paying attention to it. So, you know, it's actually been kind of nice being a part of this now, because now I've, you know, got back to watching and paying attention. But yeah, it always amazes me the work that these guys put in.
Quick break. We'll come back with 5 questions and more on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca, coming to you live in the EWEL studios, EWEL.ca, your local electrical distributor. Whether you need anything electrical for your project or you need help sprucing up your project, they can do both. EWEL.ca.
Hold on to your hockey helmet, Edmonton. On the Rocks is serving up 60-cent wings that fly off the plate faster than a slap shot.
And Molson Canadian for $4.50.
OTR's TVs, they're so clear.
You'll see the puck better than the ref.
Plus, every game night during Edmonton's playoff run gives you a chance to be part of the Sack Attack.
You could win a Hyman jersey.
This is our year.
And our time to cheer.
Be a part of the legend.
On the Rocks. On the Rocks.
Jasper Ave 118th.
This spring, experience innovation on the road at Volvo Cars Edmonton. Right now, lease from 0.99% or save up to $4,000 on select models for qualifying loyal Volvo Cars Edmonton customers. Plus, save $5,000 on all new and demo 2024 XC60 Recharge plug-in hybrid models. Discover why we're Canada's only 13-time Volvo Excellence Award winner. Chat online at volvocarsedmonton.com or visit 1205 101st Street Southwest.
CW Eves Troughing is busy. That's why they're looking for experienced troughers to run one of their trucks. To get paid top rates, contact CW Eves Troughing at 780-435-1492 or email info@cweves.com.
Your love for strawberries is very passionate, you say. Just wait till you get your next taste of Booster Juice. The new strawberry blush smoothie made with strawberries, bananas, vanilla oat, and vanilla frozen yogurt will make you fall in love. And there's no tea like the Strawberry Serenity Teaser, a blend of strawberry juice, green tea, and honey. And for a tasty treat to pair perfectly with your berry obsession, the Strawberries and Cream Booster Ball has returned like your favorite dream. Visit a Booster Juice near you today or download the Booster Rewards app.
You got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Christensen Communities, the name in active adult living. Enjoy retirement living without compromise. At Christensen, we understand that each lifestyle is unique. We are committed to providing choice through optional dining, personal services, recreation programs, and care plans to suit your current and future needs. Enjoy maintenance-free living and build new friendships in a safe, independent community. Large suites with full kitchens and in-suite laundry, on-site amenities, and so much more. Find out more today about our communities across the province at cdlhomes.com.
A solid financial plan is made up of more than just investments. Investments are an important part, but you need a more comprehensive approach. Roger Weird at Weird Pearson Akel & Associates Private Wealth Management understands that. He can help build a plan that includes retirement, estate planning, personal insurance, tax strategies, and yes, investments. Talk to him today and see the difference a real financial plan makes. Weird Pearson Akel & Associates. Call 780-988-4119 or visit weirdadvisoryteam.com.
Embrace the drive at GMC. Right now, lease the 2024 Terrain SLE from $218 bi-weekly. That's like $109 weekly at 5.9% for 24 months with $3,300 down on an ultra-low-kilometer lease. Get out to the best views with a 1.5-liter turbocharged engine and listen to all your favorite tunes along the way with available Amazon Alexa built in. Or maybe even no tunes at all. Visit your local GMC dealer for details.
Mark your calendars for Finning Cat's Inventory Blowout, May 31st to June 1st. Head down to our compact construction branch at 10920 170th Street for clearance prices on new and used equipment. Secure 0% financing and choose from $500 parts credit, a cat cooler, or Edmonton Elks tickets. Plus, be our guest for a free lunch from 11:30 to 1 on both days. Hurry, these deals last 2 days only. Some exceptions apply. Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
Positive Friday. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sean Brown with you on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. And yes, the Oilers, a little bit of a relaxing day. We'll hear from Chris Knobloch a little bit later on. Last night, probably the great quote from last night's game, I think, was from Connor McDavid when he was asked afterwards about what it was like, the feeling sitting in the penalty box. It was long, really long, really, really long, miserable. I hated every second of it, but the guys did an amazing job. Truthfully, the penalty kill has been amazing, and to step in there for 4 minutes against a good power play, I can't give those guys enough credit. And it's so true. Right? It's very true. And that's where, like, you saw when he came out of the penalty bench, he's going down the bench, he's high-fiving everyone. Like, oh, yeah. And his other one was, what his response about, I just have to put it in the net. It's simple as that. Like, he should have scored on that play. And I love this honesty because it's true. And I've talked about this before, like, you'll make a big defensive gaffe and everyone's like, oh my God. And then when a guy makes an offensive gaffe, people are like, oh, well, geez, like,
yeah.
But when you were looking at that play, the minute at the early part of it, when Ottinger spread out and put his stick out, there was like a 2-foot gap between his pad and the stick. That's where he shoot it right there. And McDavid even said it, like, he knew it. That's got to go in.
Yeah. I wouldn't even know what it's like to live in that world to score goals. I mean, for me, what I find amazing about the guy is when he does things that no one else in the league can do and how casual he is. How casual he is about it. As if it's like, yeah, that's just, what I do. And it's not a big deal. And it is a big deal. Right. So just how good he is and how casual he is about, and how he approaches it. He just, he's so humble and doesn't like, doesn't really necessarily like being goo goo gaga over, with the things that he does. That's what impresses me most. I don't know word for word exactly, but just in the interview, one of the ones that I caught after the game yesterday and scoring the big goal was just, hey, ho hum, that's what I do. That's what I'm here. That's what I'm expected to do.
And it's true. But it is true, right? Like,
yeah,
it's true. Is it a hard one? 100%, but that's why he gets paid a lot.
Yeah.
Right? Kind of, it goes with it. Let's get to 5 questions now, brought to you by The Brick. From May 24th to the 27th, check out The Brick's fantastic sale prices. You can save up to $750 on sectionals and up to $100 off of smart TVs at The Brick and thebrick.com.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right, guys. Question number 1. You have to pick one and one only. What do you think was the best aspect of the Oilers game last night?
You know what? For me, just the tiniest of details, right? I talked about it earlier, the stick positioning. To get in on the forecheck and take the body is one thing. Yeah, that's important. But just, the awareness of how important your stick is to disrupt plays. Craig Button talked about, the game-winning goal there, just the low support by Connor McDavid, just how important all those little details all over the ice add up, and how big they become.
For me, it was the fact that Dallas 0 scoring chances off the rush. That's the area, like Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Matthias Ekholm both outlined before the series began. That's what we got to be leery of, because that's where they kill teams. And they were good at limiting. And guess what? It was 7-0 in scoring chances off the rush last night. And so that's huge for the Edmonton Oilers. So if you're able to take away one of the best assets a team has, you got a really good chance to win.
Question number 2. Does winning game 1 change the urgency at all with the Adam Henry getting back into the lineup? And when he eventually does get back in, who comes out?
I think it buys a little bit of time. I think if he was closer, he was able to play, he would obviously be in, and he needs time. So I think if they can continue to put themselves in a position where he can come back and he's getting even healthier, it only helps the Oilers, helps him. Who comes out? Oh, it's tough. I mean, I don't know. I mean, they're all, the big players are playing big, and the role players are doing exactly what they need to do. I don't have an answer to that, Gregor, Connor. Is it McLeod? I don't have an answer right now. I don't have an answer for that.
Well, it's not McLeod, I'll tell you that for sure. It's Connor Brown, I think. I think Connor Brown's kind of the one. Now, I know he's on the penalty kill, so some will say maybe Sam Carrick, but Sam Carrick's like 164% of his faceoffs. He's really good on the forecheck. I think it could be Adam Henrique who would come in for Brown. As for the urgency, that's a really good question, because you know what? I don't believe you have the luxury of just giving away a game in a series. Well, you know what? If we can afford to lose one, can you? Ask Vegas. Could they afford to lose one after being up 2-0 in that series? Turns out they couldn't. So, you know what? If he's ready to go, I put him in. It's that simple. If he's ready, because I think he's better. Like right now, I watch Connor Brown, and yeah, he's good on the penalty kill, But the minute he gets the puck and he's skating up the ice, Brownie, his only plan is to cross center and chip it in. Like his head's down. He had a guy wide open on the far side, Sam Carrick. You pass it over, Sam Carrick's got a partial breakaway to the net. No, it just chips it in. And he looks to me like a guy who just doesn't, he's not looking, not thinking to make any plays offensively. And Adam Henrique's a really good defensive player. Very smart player. But he's a 24 goal scorer this year. He's a 20 goal scorer 7 times in his career. I think it's an upgrade overall in your talent. I think you would play him with McLeod and Fogle, and you put Ryan back on the fourth line, which is fine, right? Derek Ryan can produce, right? He's similar to Connor Brown. So I would say for me, it's Connor Brown all day long.
I was a little, to be honest with you, I shouldn't say down, but Ryan was always the guy that I would say that I would pull out. But I mean, he's done nothing but everything he's expected to do. Been very impressed with, him and his play.
Question number 3. If you had to rank the top 5 players in this series, 1 through 5, what would the order be?
Go ahead,
Brownie. Like, is this both on both teams?
Both teams, yeah.
Oh, gee. Well, I mean, 1 through 5. So McDavid, Draisaitl, Bush, Heiskanen,
Robertson.
Yep.
Yeah. The only Dallas guy I would have in the top 5 actually is Heiskanen. I would have Hyman as the 5th.
Oh, yeah.
Question number 4. Since Don Waddell stepped down from his position in Carolina, if he chooses to, where do you think he'll end up next?
Well, I saw the reports, going to Columbus, and I'm like, what's Columbus doing? Like, now I'll give Don Waddell credit. He went into Carolina and kind of made it a destination place. Look at how many guys that wanted to sign there. They were able to trade for guys. They get there. There's so many guys now that are living in Carolina. They love the cost. It's great weather, but it's way cheaper to live there than in California or San Jose or Florida and other places like that. They're a winning team. I know they haven't won the cup, but they compete every year. I think I saw the number, like, what is it, the last 4 or 5 years, average like 113 points a year. It's pretty darn good. So he did a lot of good things there. It's hard to emulate that. And it wasn't just him. It's never just one guy. So, Columbus doesn't have a GM now, and I know I've heard the rumblings about Ken Holland, and I don't know. There seems, I guess, whenever there's smoke, there's fire. It would seem like an odd choice at this stage of his career for Ken Holland. But I could be wrong, like, especially if the Oilers win the cup. Why you get now? I know his contract's up and everything, and so they're like, okay, moving on, fine. But he built a really good team here. But he had McDavid and Connor. I mean, he had McDavid and Draisaitl, and he's not having that in Columbus. And at this stage of his career, like, what else does he have to prove? So I don't know. I guess Columbus, because it's the only opening right now. So if there's anywhere they'd go, that's where Waddell would go.
But I would hope to think that someone would go there and help that organization just for Columbus and for the league.
Yeah, well,
I mean, Columbus would be, I guess, for the guys that go there, it's a great spot to go. It doesn't seem like there's a ton of pressure.
No,
right? You can almost hide.
Yeah.
They've done nothing, and
here's the problem, Brownie. The same guys that are hiring the GM are the same guys that hired Mike Babcock. The same guys who thought that the league was out to get them for them. Like, that's what John Davidson said. So. Like, John Davidson wasn't even living in Columbus this past year. He had surgery and he was living, I think it was in Florida the whole season. So I'm not sold that it's the best situation, because leadership comes from the top. So if the guys that are hiring you are still there and they've overseen all the other bumbling, are you sure you're going to be able to make the moves you want to make?
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I don't know enough about Columbus, but they clearly need someone that has had success. And why is Carolina even letting this guy go if he built such a good thing anyway? Right? I mean, so I just, the strength of the NHL is the strength of every team in the NHL, and I would just like to see Columbus have a better team, for the sake of the league, and I know you talk about Carolina being a good place and a destination and people like it there. I know people that have played Columbus, in Columbus and they love Columbus too.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's I totally get it.
Final question, guys. Hypothetical Friday. On this day in 1963, Barbara Streisand performed Happy Days Are Here Again at the White House Press Correspondents' Dinner. She got to meet John F. Kennedy. Don't know if you guys knew this. If you could go back and watch any musical performance in history, which would you go back and watch?
Am I going first? Musical performance. I guess when I think about a musical performance that had an impact on me, it was probably Michael Jackson on Motown when he did the moonwalk. I still remember that. I remember sitting on the couch. I remember the build up. Our whole family was there. I think we had friends over, and when he did it, our house erupted.
That's not bad. That's a really good question, Cons. I don't. I definitely wouldn't be in the White House Press Correspondents' Dinner. I can tell you that.
Not a Streisand guy?
Yeah. Well, I don't care who's playing there. It just doesn't seem like the greatest place to that's not like oh my goodness, what a performance. Ooh. You know what I would have said this is what I was like last week old when I learned that Whitney Houston's famous national anthem, she didn't sing it live. She lip synced it.
Are you serious?
Yeah. I read the whole story about it. It's all confirmed. She'd went in a studio and recorded it all. And then when she was there that day, she was lip syncing and they were playing her sound from the studio. And now obviously she still sang it in studio, but it's different. And I was like, oh, because I used to think that was the greatest.
Yeah,
like that
that's
was
a
so
buzzkill.
good.
I
But
didn't
I was
know
like,
that
are you
either.
kidding me? So I take that one out. I'm happy because someone might have texted in Gregor, that she lip synced that. And I would have been like, what? So yeah, it's true. I would guess I would go. Not one performance per se, but I would have probably wanted to see the Beatles once, like the first time they came to North America. That seemed like a pretty big deal in musical history. I'll go with the Beatles.
Yeah.
I don't even know where they played the first time, and then the first one might not even matter. Maybe just like the first time they played in a big wig in North America, because it really, that made them global.
Yeah. It is kind of neat to think, the following that they had, Elvis Presley.
Oh, Elvis, man.
I
Stayed at Forrest Gump's house, buddy. Unbelievable.
I just can't imagine. I can't imagine being that into someone.
Yeah, well, it was a different time. You're right. Like when you'd see this screaming and people fainting when someone. Yeah, I can't grasp that.
Yeah.
Like, do people still like if Taylor Swift plays? Are girls really screaming and like I know they're screaming, but are they passing out? Like,
yeah,
I don't know. That's something I can't relate to. I've never been that excited about anything where it's like right? Yeah, no, wouldn't do it. Brownie, are the Oilers going to come home up 2 or even at 1?
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, how do you bet against the Oilers?
So you're
but
saying
it's going to be a tough series. I'm going to say
yeah.
they're going to come back 1-1.
1-1.
Right? But I think the Oilers are going to win the series, but it's not going to be easy.
Okay. Have yourself a great weekend. Let's get to the Con Man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Booster Juice. And it is back. One of your favorites by special demand. The Strawberries and Cream Booster Ball. Strawberries, almonds, cashews, vanilla, and coconut. Love it today at Booster Juice.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
Game day. Eastern Conference Final Game 2. Rangers and Panthers. A meeting at MSG. Puck drop just after 6 o'clock. Florida leading that series 2-1. Some news from the NHL off day. Scott Arniel has been appointed as the next head coach of the Winnipeg Jets. He spent the last 2 seasons there as an assistant. Carolina Hurricanes announced that President and GM Don Waddell has resigned from his positions with the organization. The team named Eric Tulsky interim general manager as they search for a permanent general manager. Waddell joined the team 10 years ago, overseeing business operations. In the association tonight, you got Game 2 of the Western Conference Final with the Timberwolves hosting the Mavericks. That gets going just after 6:30. Dallas leads that series 1-0 in the majors. The Blue Jays are in action, taking on the Detroit Tigers right now. Bottom of the second, that one is scoreless. Elsewhere, Pirates lead the Braves 2-0. The Mariners have a 1-0 lead over the Nationals, and the Rays lead the Royals 1-0 as well. Later tonight, Reds take on the Dodgers. The Brewers are in Boston. White Sox host the Orioles. Rangers drop the Minnesota. Cards meet the Cubbies. The Phillies up against the Rockies. Athletics battle the Astros. Miami in Phoenix taking on the Diamondbacks, and the Padres hosting the New York Yankees. Game 1 of the Memorial Cup gets going in about 30 minutes as host Saginaw takes on the Moose Jaw Warriors. In the PWHL, we're just about to get going. Game 3, Minnesota-Boston. That series tied at 1 game apiece. And in the WNBA, you got Sparks and Fever meeting at 8 o'clock. Coming up in hour 4 of the Jason Gregor Show, we will be joined by Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet and Alan Mitchell, host of the Lowdown with Low Tide. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
Building or renovating, you want to work with someone who sees and understands your vision. BIE Engineering is a family-owned, experienced structural engineering consulting firm serving commercial and residential clients in Edmonton and surrounding area. Homeowner or large company, they'll work with you to help see your ideas through. BIE Engineering can help prevent problems, deliver solutions, and minimize your risk. BIE Engineering. Request a quote for your project today. Visit BIEENG.com.
The Junior Prospects Hockey League is entering its 3rd season of gameplay. The
feel like in this tournament
now offers academic and athletic opportunities in the 14U, 15, 17, and 18U age divisions. All
Distributor
games are broadcast live on Silent Ice TV with a schedule and high level of travel and accommodations for its team, staff, and players. To learn more about why the JPHL is the fastest growing elite hockey academy stream in Western Canada, visit juniorprospectshockeyleague.com.
For a limited time at McDonald's, enjoy the tasty breakfast trio. Your choice of chicken or sausage McMuffin or McGriddles with a hash brown and a small iced coffee for $5 plus tax. Available until 11 a.m. at participating McDonald's restaurants. Price excludes flavored iced coffee and delivery.
Sports 1440 has added another player to our lineup. Tonight, from 6 to 9, check out Turn Sports with your host, Navin Romerick. Edmonton's exclusive home of sports talk is now rolling 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Until June 8th, make the shift to more savings at Fountain Tire and get up to $200 off a set of 4 select tires, plus a bonus $50 off any service of $150 or more. Restrictions apply, financing available, book online today. I can tell by the look on your face you're thinking about it.
Join Kidsport Edmonton's Bids for Kids, presented by GS Construction, June 19th, 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. at the Bell in Scona. Celebrate 29 years of Kidsport with 90s attire and courage. Tickets are $75, including entry into a mountain getaway draw. Enjoy a night of sports talk, appetizers and bevies, silent auction, 50-50, and a beer tree raffle. All funds raised support local Kidsport Kids registration fees. Visit kidsportbidsforkids.com for tickets. Event is 18+.
At McDonald's, we know summer can go by quickly, so make the most of all the park hangs, beach days, sunsets, and festivals. Whew. With a $2 plus tax sundae or snack size milkshake, or an app-exclusive $1 plus tax soft serve cone. At participating McDonald's restaurants in Canada, prices exclude delivery. App download and registration required.
This spring, the savings continue at the Brick. Take up to 40% off furniture and mattresses, as well as the chance to scratch and save an additional 40% off your purchase. Plus, you'll have the chance to win great prizes, including a $10,000 Brick shopping spree. Find amazing deals on kitchen appliances and save up to $400 on sofas, so you can prepare your ultimate game day snacks and then watch the game in style. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
Oh, yeah, mes cheveux.
Je lubię swoje włosy.
No kami. Psycho.
Translation: I love my hair, and Dr. Vance Elliott is the reason why. He's an authority on hair restoration procedures, and not just in Edmonton. He teaches other doctors around the world how to perform successful hair transplants.
I'm Dr. Vance Elliott, and I want to be the reason why you love your hair. Go to drvanceelliott.com and contact us today.
Scott here from Sherwood and St. Albert Dodge. It's our biggest sale of the year. This month, every new and used vehicle we have has been marked down and priced to sell. We have Ram trucks that are 25% off, brand new trucks, and we have hundreds to choose from. We have 0% financing up to 72 months on Grand Cherokee. Even though we know our prices are great, every single offer will be considered. We will work to get you the best financing terms. We will pay top dollar for your trade. We will do what it takes to earn your business. It's our biggest sale of the year, and it's on now at St. Albert and Sherwood Dodge.
Back, it is a positive Friday. How are you? Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you. 833-401-1440. The text line today, the question, very simple. What impressed you most about the Oilers? And has your confidence changed at all? Or are you just like, no, it's just one game? Let us know. 833-401-1440 in our eWell inbox. It is the Gregor Show. Remind you, go to playalberta.ca, our title sponsor. 70 mil up for grabs in Lotto Max and 12 Max Millions. Good luck. Also, it's been pretty lucky based on the text line. Many of you have been using the promo code Gregor50. Comes with a $50 play with a $5 minimum deposit. So good luck. Keep it up. Playalberta.ca. Now, the Oilers and Stars will, maybe they'll be kicking back and watching Game 2 tonight, Florida and the Rangers. And then remember, if you are into playoffs, Sunday afternoon is when the Panthers and the Rangers play. Meanwhile, the Oilers and the Stars tomorrow night, broadcast at 6, puck drop, maybe 6:10 is probably what we're looking at. So there you go. Earlier times, folks. You got to love it. Probably not used to it. Imagine if last night was the old 8:50 start, being in bed at midnight. So it's a dream. It's a dream, the early starts. Let's get to the Spec Report now, brought to you by GS Construction. And it's been a dream 50 years for them, as they are just over a week away from celebrating 50 years as a company. And they got a big bash going. I just want to thank everyone who supported in the last 50 years at GS Construction, as Mark Spector from Rogers Sportsnet joins us from Dallas. And Spec, it was definitely, as Connor McDavid said, going off the ice, an eventful game last night. Edmonton played very well in a lot of stretches. Their penalty kill obviously was unreal, save their bacon of their captain in overtime. Talking to the players, the Oilers seemed pretty happy. The Stars still felt pretty confident about their play. They just feel like obviously they want to get a few more shots through. What did you make of Dallas's overall game last night?
Well, we're starting to wonder a little bit, I think, Jay, because these Oilers are, they just went through a series with Vancouver where there was a lot of 20-shot nights for the Canucks. And everyone can say, yeah, well, Nashville did that to them too, and that's fair. And I thought, okay, well, let's see. Now we're getting to this game last night, and they played 4 periods of hockey, and Dallas had 5 power plays, and they got 33 shots on net, and a couple good chances for sure, but not an inordinate amount. They didn't. A lot of those shots were very easily handled by Stu Skinner. So now at what point, I'm going to ask you this: at what point do we say, man, this Oilers defense is the biggest defense left in the league. They're getting really good at stopping cycles and keeping guys on the outside. The forwards are coming back and doing their job. At what point do we start to quit talking about all the other teams and all the great things about them and maybe say, these teams got to figure out how to get inside on Edmonton, because that's becoming increasingly difficult.
Well, Spec, yesterday, and some people put it out online where I was so tired of the Dallas depth being infinitely better conversation. I was like, oh my God. And last night, Edmonton's depth isn't just offense. Their depth's unreal on the penalty kill, but their depth has actually outscored Dallas, but we don't need to repeat that again. So, I think Edmonton's defensive game is, anybody who really looked at a lot of their numbers, and I know Kevin Woodley talked about it, and lots of other people, we've mentioned it, how they haven't given up a lot of chances. And you know what? Stu Skinner, I thought, was very good. That Dadonov breakaway save and the rebound on Jamie Benn 2 minutes into the game, that to me was really a statement play for Skinner and really set the tone for the rest of the game. I don't know if they had a better chance the rest of the game than that. I know everyone's like, yeah, Robertson's goalpost. I said, yeah, but that hit Desharnais' skate going short side and went to far side. That to me that wasn't a great shot. That was, the puck ricocheted and came close. But man, after that, I thought Edmonton was much more alert defensively. And Stuart Skinner, when called upon, he made key saves. He was like the Sagan play on the power play. I think that was their best power play chance, really, in the first period, when he was wide open alone on the right circle. And Stuart Skinner just came out to the top of the crease and just ate up that shot and made it kind of look easy.
Yeah, he's today's goalie. Like, we all know that little goalies are on the way out here.
Yeah.
But we also know that, the 6'7" guy, I'm not sure he works either. Like who's the kid? I forget his name, Fedotov or something that Philly brought in at the end of the year. Buffalo fired about 8 pucks past him or something. My point is this is today's goalie, 6'4", right? He's got all the big gear now. He's very economical. The better Stu Skinner's playing, the less he's moving around, the more boring his saves are. And lately, he plays a very dull, efficient game and then spices in with the odd freelance save, right? Whether it's the breakaway save was a very calm save. The reaction on the guy making a save, man, a great save. There was a blocker save last night. I forget who was on that flashed out of nowhere and he caught a ball blocker. Was that the Robertson one maybe? Anyway, there's a lot of saves. I can't remember them all, but yeah, he can still give you a freelance save when he has to, and that moment will arrive for every goalie. But the vast majority of Stu Skinner's nights here are looking very economical. Guys are hitting them in the crest because there's nowhere else to shoot. And that's today's goalie. That's when, you got a guy that's executing the goaltending style he's trying to play.
Mark Spector joins us. And, it's hard not to say enough about the penalty kill. They had Dallas on their heels for the first in regulation. Now, in the McDavid double minor, I noticed Dallas made a switch. They won some faceoffs, which helped them because Derek Ryan hadn't lost one up until overtime. And the minute they won the faceoff, 5-6 seconds, boom, Robertson shoot from the left side. Another faceoff, boom, Robertson shoot from the left side. That became their go-to shoot from that circle. And Edmonton seemed comfortable to do it because they were either blocking the shot or they were letting Skinner see it cleanly. And, they were hoping for a Pavelski tip, they being Dallas, or a rebound, and Edmonton just wasn't giving them. Ideally, you don't want to take 5 penalties in that game. And I guess it's technically 4. One was just a double minor. But, their penalty kill right now, Spec, they've only allowed goals in 2 of the 13 games. And they're on like a 19 in a row where they haven't allowed a goal. Like it can win you games specifically just on your penalty kill.
Oh, for sure. And it's the momentum. And imagine if you got a couple power plays,
Yeah.
I mean, special teams wins you games at this time of year. We know that because there's not that many goals in these games. There's lots of 3-2 hockey, man. Your power play gets you 2, you're going to win 85% of the time. And the other side of it is when your PK is giving you 0 every night, the other guys are frustrated and, they're not. There was no momentum from any of those Dallas power plays last night. That is for sure, especially the ones in regulation, boy. They were beating their head up against that wall. So, you know what? This is what a winning hockey team looks like. It's not just a few guys scoring a bunch of goals. There's so much more to it. And we're watching all these 3-2 games. And how many have we watched in the last 2 weeks? 3-2, 3-2, 3-2. And the Oilers are getting their share of them because of all the Desharnais and Ryans and PKs and goaltending. And then McDavid chips one in. And obviously Draisaitl's been all world. But they're not having 4-point nights. They don't need 4-point nights to win this time of year. And that is probably the best sign we've had around here in a long time.
Speaking of Draisaitl, we saw that he's got his left index finger something.
Yes.
Is it? You know what it is? Like it doesn't look like it doesn't have a splint on it. Even when he was walking off of the plane, he just had it bandaged and it was at an angle. So I don't know if it's if he's got a bad cut on it, if he's got some sort of damage where it got slashed or something. But and I don't know if you asked him, does it impact him on faceoffs at all?
Buddy, unless someone at home saw that thing on the Sportsnet cameraman gets the credit for this one. How long has he been wearing that? Nobody even knew about it, right? He could have had that thing on for 3 weeks for all I know. Injuries in the playoffs. Draisaitl's not walking around telling us how many injuries he has.
Yeah.
So we all saw that last night. Like that was a focal thing. Like, oh boy, did you see that? Draisaitl was not available today. In fact, we asked for him and they said, no, he's got something, he's dealing with something. Maybe it's his finger.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have an answer for you. He seems like he's got that going on. We've also seen him with some kind of a back brace that he's wearing. But I'll tell you what, it's not affecting his game. Like his defensive game last night was, oh my God, it was so good. It is so good. He is playing so hard. All those nights, folks out there in the regular season, and I'm as bad as anyone when Draisaitl kind of takes a back check off when we go, oh my God, Draisaitl, will you catch that guy? Well, he's catching him now, boy. He's not leaving that thing on the table. He's an absolute beast. 200 feet, whether you have the puck or they have the puck, he is as good a player as you're ever going to see in a playoff game right now.
Oh, his defensive game, like there was probably 4 or 5 plays where I'm just like, oh my goodness. Like I kind of chuckle when people suggest Draisaitl isn't very good defensively. I'm like, I've debated that for a while, and you're really seeing it come to fruition here. What about
Don't judge the guy in January here, right? He's busy scoring you 50 goals and 110 points in January. Judge him at this time of year. You want to know how his defensive game is. And it's an exceptionally good defensive game at this time of year when it really matters.
Yeah. When he's also scoring 25 points in 13 games.
yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, not bad. Now, I'm wondering if you talk to the Oilers or anybody, or Dallas, even the fact that like their go-to defensive pair is on the ice for all 3 goals against. And on 2 of them, Tanev just loses a battle, 1 to Hyman, 1 to Nugent Hopkins, that lead directly to the goals. And how much that is a challenge. And will we see Heiskanen potentially more than just 4 minutes, where those other guys are playing 16 and 17 minutes against McDavid?
Yeah, that's not something that Pete DeBoer is going to tell you on an off day, but that's something that every guy around the series is wondering. I'm going to say this. I don't think, Tanev and Lindell, they're
very good. Don't get me wrong.
They're very good. And you don't get off them after one game, right? Every NHL coach I know trusts his guys. Nobody has to tell Tanev that it didn't go his way. Those guys are on the ice for all 3 Oilers goals last night.
Yeah.
So they don't have to be told, hey, did you know that? So every coach I've ever known, they keep their mouth shut. They put those guys back in the same position, and they expect them to be better in game 2. I'm telling you, Jason, I would fall out of my chair in the press box if that game started and they changed that matchup. Now, if after game 2 we're having the same conversation, well, now let's talk about this a little bit on the plane ride to Edmonton. We might do some switching up then, or mid-game if it's going bad. But I'm here to tell you, that's their best defensive pairing. If those guys can't handle McDavid, the other guys aren't going to be any better. Even if his name is Miro Heiskanen, there's a reason that Tanev and Lindell are on that line right now. They got to get the job done, or it's going to be a tough series for Dallas.
Yeah, no, it's fair. Like, I agree with you. I don't think they would go away from it. I just wonder if they even it out a little bit, per se, because it was, it was a significant difference. Now they're at home, and I'm thinking in Edmonton, they won't be able to get the matchup they want. And that's obviously where home ice advantage comes in. Adam Henrique, what's the latest?
Well, the latest, I believe, is he really seems like he's ready to play, right? There was no skate today, so I can't tell you that I saw him do anything, but I watched him skate a whole bunch. And you know how it is, Jay, when guys are injured, by the end, they just look like every other player out there.
Yeah.
He doesn't look any different than anybody else. I think he's ready to play. My question to you is, you just won a game 7 and a game 1 with one lineup. Are you switching it even to get Adam Henrique in?
Ooh, I would. Okay, and here's my reason why. Is Adam Henrique a better player than Connor Brown?
I don't know. How's your PK been doing lately?
It has been.
Right.
Henry can kill penalties. I get it. Brown's killing penalties. Now, if they take 5 again, then maybe he's in for 2 minutes. What if they only take 3? Then you're talking like a minute and a bit.
Well, I think he killed 3 minutes and some of penalties last night, Brown.
Yeah. So, then if it's not him, and as much as I like him on the forecheck and everything, I look at Adam Henrique and I'm like, hey, the third line did have their best game of the series, Spec, but that's not, of the playoffs. But that's because the bar was so damn low that it was only up for them, right? Like Ryan McLeod finished some checks, didn't crush anybody, but at least he didn't fly by everybody. So that's a positive, but they still don't have a goal in the playoffs as a line.
Fogel had a breakaway.
Didn't get a shot on goal, right? Didn't get a shot on goal out of it. So I just look at, you got a guy who scored 24 goals this year, a guy who scored 20 plus goals 7 times in his career. He's a better player. You bring him in. I think it helps your team. And I'm not one who's like, well, you know what? If he's ready. Now, if you're like, geez, 2 more days will make him better healthy, that's a different conversation. But if he's 100%, they're like, this guy is not going to get any better. This is the best he's going to get. Then I play him because just look at what happened to Vegas. Just because you're up 2-0 doesn't mean you win the series. Like Edmonton can't be in a position, well, we can afford to give one away and on ice our best lineup. I think Henrique overall can do more for you. He can also kill penalties. And I I would put him in. He's a really smart player. I would put him in if indeed he's ready to go tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose you'd fit him onto your third line and probably put, say, Fogle on your fourth line, right?
Fogle or Ryan, one of the two.
Or Ryan, yeah. Fair enough. So sure, I'm not going to argue with you. I always have a lot of respect for a coach that says, yes, so what if we won? I got a player, I'm going to put him in. Or so what if we won? There was one thing I didn't like, and I got a guy who's ready to play. I'm going to play him. It's a bit of a cliche to never get off a winning lineup.
Mm-hmm.
So I get it. If he's ready to go, I can't argue with you when you say this guy's better. You know, he's whatever he is. Is he your 7th, 8th, 9th best forward? Whatever he is, he's certainly not your 13th best forward.
No.
So if he's healthy, he should play.
Like it's a good problem to have that Edmonton, like Connor Brown. It's not that he's played poorly, but outside of the penalty kill spec, like I'm sorry, right now, Connor Brown gets the puck and nothing happens. Like I watched very closely. He's coming out of the defensive zone. He's got some speed, and all he does is cross center and flip it in. Cross center, flip it in. The one time he had Carrick wide open, he was on the right wing. Carrick was across the middle of the ice. Both Dallas defenders had, for whatever reason, were caught cheating. If he flips that over to the left side, Carrick's got a breakaway, and he just chipped it in. And I'm like, he wasn't even looking. He didn't even get his head up, and he just looks like a guy right now who's like, my only purpose in life here is to make sure we don't get scored on. And I respect that, but at the same time, you know, you're basically limiting more. Yeah, you're limiting yourself to the other half of the ice.
Yeah, I want a little more. And hey, what about, speaking of having your head up, how about Bouchard?
Oh, buddy, are you kidding me? What a play.
Well, how about a guy like I wrote him today. I wrote a big piece on it. I talked to Paul Coffey. Actually, he told me some really cool stuff. It's a good piece. He totally challenged him for that last in Vancouver in Game 7.
Yeah.
Like, it's so loud in that building. Everybody saw that video of Knobloch during the timeout and how he had to scream at his team just so they could hear him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was bedlam in that building, man. And Coffey told me today, he says, well, there's like, Bouchard went out for a shift with 50 seconds left in the game.
Yeah.
And played it to the finish line.
Yeah.
And Coffey said, I stood behind him and I looked right. He says, he looked right at me and I said, "Are you effing ready?" And Bouchard says, "I got this." And out he went. And he said, "This is going to cost me my job if you don't do this right." I mean, he didn't say that to him, but we were laughing. The point is, he says, you got to make sure your player's ready and engaged, and he wants the responsibility you're giving him. And of all the things Bouchard has done in his career with Edmonton, and they're mounting now, going out with 50 seconds left in a Game 7 in a 3-2 game, that's not one of them.
Yep.
He's never been that guy.
Mm-hmm.
So in that moment, his coach, gave him the ball, man, and said, "Are you ready for this? Because I'm giving you the assignment." And the kid said, "I want it." And out he went and he did it. And here we are today. I think it's cool. I think we're watching the transformation here. My story is about an organization that in 45 years has developed 2 number 1 defensemen in 45 years. And now one of them's coaching the other one. So it's pretty cool. I think we talk about young guys growing, and we're watching Holloway now. And I think we're watching Skinner. And oh boy, are we ever watching Bouchard. He's just getting better every day, man.
Yeah, no, he is. It's and both ends. It's not just the offense for Bouchard, but that heads up play on the wall there to get to McDavid. And the hilarious part about Bouchard is like he does it so matter of factly, right? He's just like, oh, here we go, do. It's no big deal. And obviously he's emotional. Don't get me wrong, but it's just he's very calm. He is very calm under pressure.
You know what he looks like? Because the other thing he does is his head's up.
All the time.
I get it. And all of us who have played the game at my crappy, terrible level, never any good at all. But we all know that one of the challenges of playing the sport of hockey is to skate around and never look at the puck and have your head up and see what's going on the ice, right? Yeah. Every fall you go out to play beer hockey and you spend the first game looking at your stick and you realize, oh, wait a second, this ain't working. This guy's head is up. He reminds me of Sergei Zubov. Sergei Zubov used to skate around the rink, and he never looked at the puck. Even on that lousy ice in Reunion Arena, the puck was bouncing like a basketball. Sergei Zubov never, ever looked at his stick.
Yeah.
And I always admired that about him. And I'm watching Bouchard, like he's coming down the wall to pick up that puck, and he's not even looking at it. Like he's 3 feet away. He's already looking in the slot. He puts a puck on McDavid's tape that, I mean, it couldn't have been a more perfect pass. It's this guy, man. You talk about aware and vision. He's got vision because, like I say, I never see him even look at the darn puck.
Yeah, well, it's impressive what he's doing right now. No question about it. Spec, enjoy Dallas. Have fun. We will chat with you on Monday.
All right, Jake.
There you go. That's the Spec Report brought to you by GS Construction. When we come back, LT will join us and more on a busy, positive Friday. We got a lot of text flying in at 833-401-1440. Many of you are like, hey, I feel like the Oilers are going to win now. I was questioning it, but to paraphrase many of you, the confidence is building amongst the fan base. Why wouldn't it be? Solid game last night. Talk about it more on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Hey, Eddie Steele here. If you know me, you know I'm motivated. And what motivates me? Winning? Been there, done that. What motivates me is the smell of fresh baked goodness, the kind you find at Bonton Bakery. As soon as you walk into Bonton, you're greeted with a big smile, a warm welcome, and the aroma. So good. The showcase of their baked goods always means trouble for me, not just because of the selection, but the excellent fresh ingredients. That's Bonton Bakery, 8720 149th Street. Open 9 to 5, Tuesday to Saturday.
The playoffs are wild. We all know that. And this year, Play Alberta is making it even wilder. Make a deposit with promo code Gregor50 to snag a $50 free sports bet with your next deposit. Get ready for unbeatable promotions throughout the playoffs with 10+ odds boost on every Oilers playoff game. Score a chance to win a pair of lower bowl or even exclusive sweet tickets for an Oilers playoff game just by making a bet on an Oilers playoff game at playalberta.ca. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
This spring, experience innovation on the road at Volvo Cars Edmonton. Right now, lease from 0.99% or save up to $4,000 on select models for qualifying loyal Volvo Cars Edmonton customers. Plus, save $5,000 on all new and demo 2024 XC60 Recharge plug-in hybrid models. Discover why we're Canada's only 13-time Volvo Excellence Award winner. Chat online at volvocarsedmonton.com or visit 1205 101st Street Southwest.
I'm Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. And I'm Zach Hyman. And when we're not making juicy, sweet passes or having my goals disallowed, we're working for Legacy Heating and Cooling. You know, guys used to call me a plumber. And now they call you an AC repairman. Nice.
Hey, guys, you're not here to fix air conditioners. You're here to sing the jingle.
Oh.
Well.
Okay. Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
No payments and no interest for 1 year from qualified installers. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
This spring, the savings continue at The Brick. Take up to 40% off furniture and mattresses, as well as the chance to scratch and save up to an additional 40% off your purchase. Plus, you'll have the chance to win great prizes, including a $10,000 Brick shopping spree. Find amazing deals on kitchen appliances and save up to $400 on sofas so you can prepare your ultimate game day snack and then watch the game in style. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
Whether you're gearing up for a corporate golf tournament or just taking a client out for a round, get your branded shirts, jackets, golf caps, and prizing at Elite Promotional Marketing. Before you tee off, make sure you head to elitepromomarketing.com.
What's cracking at Cattail? Their men's league. Play 18 holes for 18 weeks on Tuesdays from 2 to 6 p.m. Then complete the day and head to Out of Bounds, recently ranked one of Canada's top 10 in fine dining restaurants. For details, visit cattailcrossing.ca.
Legacy Heating and Cooling jingle auditions take one for Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Zach Hyman. Are you ready, guys?
We were born ready. Heck yes, Nuge. Drop the beat. Call Legacy. Call Legacy. We freaking killed it, Nuge. That's what I'm talking about, Zachary Martin Hyman.
Nice guys. We're going to sell a lot of air conditioners.
Hey, doesn't Legacy offer no payments and no interest for a year on those?
Yeah, well, thanks for the assist on the copy points there, Nuge.
It's just what I do.
Legacy Heating and Cooling.
A few years ago, I was doing okay, but the rising cost of living has made my credit card bills go through the roof, and I don't know how to handle it anymore.
Times are tough. The cost of living is causing many to fall into debt through no fault of their own. It's easy to feel overwhelmed and stressed. There are options that can help you get back on your feet. My name is Parveen Middleton, and I'm a licensed insolvency trustee at BDO here in Edmonton. I can help you find a solution to become debt-free. Visit bdodebt.ca to learn more.
Some people prefer pre-owned to saying used. Sherwood Honda will happily sell you a used vehicle. But first, it will be pre-Sherwood Honda certified with a 159-point pre-inspection. Then pre-stored to Sherwood Honda's high standards. Then they pre-guarantee the lowest finance rates and prevent problems with the 30-day exchange privilege. Pre-owned or used, Sherwood Honda actually has plenty of both in stock with a buying experience you sure would prefer.
A little extra brass bonanza for you as we wrap up a busy Friday. What a busy week. Thanks, as always, for tuning in. We appreciate it. Hope you're having yourselves an awesome weekend. Something tells me you might be watching a little NHL, a little NBA playoffs. No surprise, the Celtics having their way with the Indiana Pacers thus far in the Eastern Conference Final. The West, hopefully, will be a little bit more competitive. But tonight, Panthers, Rangers, and something tells me, Oilers fans, you might be watching a little bit closer because there's a chance the Oilers could be facing one of those teams in a few weeks' time in the Stanley Cup Final, which would be the 8th time the Oilers make it to the Stanley Cup Final. Not bad. Not bad at all. You had, you had some down years for sure, but you also had a pretty good run of, 6 trips to the Cup in a, 8-year span? Not bad. Let's get to the oil report brought to you by Volvo Cars, Edmonton.com. Speaking of not bad, trust me, it's never bad. It is great. The service, the special, 0.99% on a lease right now. I can also get $5,000 off select vehicles only at Canada's #1 Volvo dealership, Volvo Cars, Edmonton.com. As the host of the Lowdown, Alan Mitchell, joins us. He's been feverishly pecking away at something, I'm sure, today on his old typewriter. Al, what angle have you come up with for tomorrow?
Well, the way I look at this is I think that it's a constant debate. There are 4 million general managers of the Edmonton Oilers, only one actual GM, and that's Ken Holland. And I think that as the spring continues, we're looking at a team that has real depth, more depth than I think than any team since 2006.
For sure.
And like we're talking about, everybody's talking about, well, Dallas is going to bring in Rupe, and Adam Henrique is a hell of a hockey player, and he can help out on the top line on left wing. He can help out as a centerman. He can take own zone faceoffs, and Carrick, same thing. He can help out too. I just think that this Edmonton Oilers team, if you go back and look at the roster Holland had in the spring of 2019, there was a lot of youth. There was a lot of unproven youth in Puljujarvi and Yamamoto were they'd been hanging around a little bit, and God love them, they were value contracts. Once they started getting paid, the Oilers kind of moved away from them. But there was a lot to get through, and then they had the pandemic, and we're at the 5-year mark here, and I think a lot of people have been upset, angry, less upset, maybe a little bit mildly happy. But I think if you look at this roster, there is not a lot of dead weight on this roster right now. They are really good up and down the line. Both goalies played in the first round. Their 6 defensemen are incredibly healthy. And a guy like Bouchard was drafted, but Desharnais was drafted, developed in the system. They've made some astute free agent signings and trades. CC is signing, Kulak, and obviously Ekholm trades, and then a signing in the case of Kulak after they traded for him. I think some credit is due. No matter what happens here, I think that it's collecting pieces and assets, and useful players, and that's what's been done here. And you're seeing it in a game like last night. It's impossible to avoid or ignore it. This is a really good hockey club.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of Henrique, so let's say, because if there's benefits to resting him, then you rest him. But let's say they're like, he ain't getting any better. He's back. This is the best he is. I would play him tomorrow, and I would take him out I would take Connor Brown out. Would you play him? And if so, who would you take out?
Brown is the reason I would take Brown out is because of Carrick. Because if Carrick had not played well, then you probably take him out, or you take Ryan out. But I think Brown is good. There's nothing wrong with Connor Brown, but he's the last guy. I think you've got the thing that the players and really the fans have to come to grips with is somebody good is going to sit, and that's what we're talking about here. But I do think you take Brown out. He's a winger. He does have good speed. He can forecheck and all of those things, but he's not an offensive difference maker. No. And they have enough, elsewhere that they can make up for what he doesn't bring. And Henrique is far more of a difference maker. Yeah,
100%. Like Carrick can kill penalties if need be. Henrique can kill penalties if need be. Like they got guys who can kill penalties, right? So I'm not. And if you're in a game where there's only two or three penalties, then you know what? You got your other 5 guys who are currently doing it now, and you can just rotate one of them, and they know what they're doing, right? Like Nugent Hopkins, Ryan, Janmark can go with Fogle and McLeod. You can figure it out. It's not, to me, I don't think it's that difficult. So
yeah, and they last night they lost 4 minutes. They know what they're doing.
Yeah, no, their penalty kill is very good. They're in sync. The team looks solid. Stuart Skinner, since sitting down for 2 games. He looks refreshed, Al. 3 games, 923 save percentage, 1-5 goals against. You can't ask for much more from him. And same like Cody Ceci, since they split up the pairs, he hasn't been on the ice for 1 goal against in 4 games.
Yeah, the fact of the matter is that winning solves everything. But on top of that, even though you have Kulak making that mistake, or things happening on the ice that you go, oh, geez. Well, the other side has that too. It's just that Oiler fans are staring at the Oilers, and any mistake is because it's the playoffs. And I do think that the decade of darkness really sort of taught Oilers fans to expect the worst when it happens. There's kind of an, oh, here we go again attitude. But yeah. I hope that people are enjoying this team, Jason, because that was a workman-like, business-like trip to Dallas to get business done, and they did. And I think that, I think Oilers fans should be proud of that team. They really played well. And I had Lansky on today, and he made a great point. When Leon scored and then McDavid scored the winner, they weren't jumping around. They were like, McDavid pointed at Bouchard, great pass, but they're like, okay, that's one. And I think this is a team that's been through hell and back, but you can tell they're mature, and that's top to bottom. And I remember Holland's first press conference, media veil. He talked about, slow playing the youth, over ripening everyone. And I think you're seeing that in Dylan Holloway. He's overripe, and, you can look at that as being bad or good, but he was so ready for this role that he's exceeded, I think, expectations that anybody had of him.
That's probably fair. Al, the Oilers going to split, or are they going to come home like Vegas up 2-0?
Oh, boy. Well, I'll say this. I think it'll be overtime again.
Ooh.
And I think that it's going to go maybe even double overtime. But it depends on Rupe Hintz. If he plays, and I think he will, then that's something to consider. But what if he plays and he's not 100%, which is extremely likely? Yes. So I'll say the Oilers win in double overtime in Game 2.
So a repeat of 1997, where they won in overtime in Game 5 and then won in overtime in Game 7. It was yes,
yeah. And
Smith and Marshall.
Fans will be even more upset at referees on Monday.
Yeah, wow, there's no reason to be. The refs were a non-factor in the game last night. Al, have a great weekend. We will chat with you on Monday.
All right, sir. Have a good one.
It's Al Mitchell, host of the Lowdown. Quick break. We'll come back, wrap things up on a busy, positive Friday edition of the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. We've got a lot of texts to get to, and we'll read those when we return.
Try the new extra-large New York-style crispy pepperoni pizza only from Papa John's. Get you some of that crispy, curly, cuppy pepperoni on top of an extra large New York style crust pizza with creamy tomato sauce and a 3-cheese blend. This ain't around forever, so walk fast like you're in NYC and order one now. The extra large New York style crispy cuppy pizza for just $22.99, only at Papa John's. Better ingredients, better pizza, better get you some.
The playoffs are wild. We all know that. And this year, Play Alberta is making it even wilder. Make a deposit with promo code Gregor50 to snag a $50 free sports bet with your next deposit. Get ready for unbeatable promotions throughout the playoffs with 10+ odds boost on every Oilers playoff game. Score a chance to win a pair of lower bowl or even exclusive sweet tickets for an Oilers playoff game just by making a bet on an Oilers playoff game at playalberta.ca. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
We've finished construction of our gamma radiation containment facility. Is it up to code? Is it going to be safe?
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Testing team reporting. We test your commercial operations using tools like infrared to ensure safe operation. Trust us to prevent potential calamity before it strikes.
Facing an electrical menace? Call the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
Catch the Edmonton Stingers basketball home opener on June 2nd at the Edmonton Expo Center. Enjoy affordable family fun with a $5 food and drink menu and free parking. Tickets start at just $20. Visit thestingers.ca/tickets.
Move Water is your one-stop shop for all things water. From freshwater to wastewater, we've got the pumps and solutions to keep your water moving where it matters most.
Move Water, your water solution experts.
Visit movewater.ca today.
Sports 1440 has added another player to our lineup. Tonight, from 6 to 9, check out Turn Sports with your host, Navin Romerick. Edmonton's exclusive home of sports talk is now rolling 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
The Adventure Calls event is on at GMC. Get the 2024 Sierra 1500 Elevation at 0% financing for up to 60 months. Plus, eligible Costco members can receive a $1,200 bonus on select trucks. With Sierra's available 5.3-liter V8 engine plus more cargo bed volume than any competitor, you'll have everything you need to take on any project this season, like building a brand new doghouse. That's a lot of wood. How big is this dog? Visit your local GMC dealer for details.
For a limited time at McDonald's, enjoy the tasty breakfast trio. Your choice of chicken or sausage McMuffin or McGriddles with a hash brown and a small premium roast coffee for $5 plus tax. Available until 11 a.m. at participating McDonald's restaurants. Price excludes delivery.
This spring, the savings continue at the Brick. Take up to 40% off furniture and mattresses, as well as a chance to scratch and save an additional 40% off your purchase. Plus, you'll have the chance to win great prizes, including a $10,000 Brick shopping spree. Find amazing deals on kitchen appliances and save up to $400 on sofas, so you can prepare your ultimate game day snacks and then watch the game in style. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
My utility bills are going through the roof. How can I take advantage of the sun and put my lazy roof to work?
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Energy team reporting. When you're ready to make your home or business more efficient, Action Electrical has the power to install solar panel systems and EV chargers.
Facing an electrical menace? Call on the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta with supercharged skills and strong family values. ActionElectrical.net.
It's officially spring, but when the snow melts, the grass will grow. You'll find a wide selection of Echo spring cleanup equipment at the Lawnmower Hospital. From grass trimmers and chainsaws to log splitters and multi-tool systems, all backed by Echo's outstanding 5-year consumer warranty. Take spring yard care a breeze with Echo and the Lawnmower Hospital. LawnmowerHospital.com.
We're more than mowers, the Lawnmower Hospital.
You're listening to The Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by playalberta.ca.
We return to get set for the conference final weekend, NBA, NHL. Also, big shout out to the Moose Jaw Warriors as they get set to make their first Memorial Cup appearance. And I know there'll be many people watching locally. Of course, the Savoy family, pretty fired up, I would think, to see Matt in the Memorial Cup. They got a good team. It should be a lot of fun. I love that tournament. It's great. So, you know what? That goes tonight, tomorrow, and Sunday, all next week. Meanwhile, the Oilers tomorrow night. We don't know yet. They didn't skate today. Adam Henrique will still be a game time decision. Rupe Hintz also potentially in the game. Hey, guys, when the Oilers get a lead, they seem to tighten up and start squeezing the sticks. Got to be more aggressive when they get the lead from Jag. Yeah, see, I don't know, man. Like, when it was 2-1 after Sagan scored, the Oilers outshot Dallas 9-5 the rest of that period. And then in the third period, for the first 60 minutes, they outshot them 9-4. Dallas had nothing. Edmonton was going. And then they got, now somebody, Steve sent me a still shot, but it looks like Dadonov. That might have been off his stick to Sagan. So either way, okay. But they hadn't generated anything up until that point. So I don't know if they really sat back, to be honest. But yeah, it would be. I think it's fair to say, Jag, I would agree with you that the Oilers could make life on themselves a little bit easier, get an extra insurance goal for sure. Hey guys, I won't say the Oilers will win, but this is the first series I feel relaxed. Found the people who are describing Dallas as this unbeatable team look ridiculous from Shovelhead. Hey, buddy. Now you're coming around. Listen to what I was saying the last few days. Like, Dallas is good, don't get me wrong, but oh my goodness, people painted as like this was like 1997 again. It was David versus Goliath. No. I think the Oilers will be very competitive in this series. Have yourselves a great weekend, everyone. Please don't drink and drive. I noticed they had a report out, impaireds are up. So whether it's drugs are way up and driving, please don't do it. Don't be impaired. Get home safe. There's Ubers, walk, whatever you have to do. Enjoy the games. Be safe and be smart. Let's get to the Con Man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by your Alberta GMC dealers. You can get up to $5,300 cash purchase credit on a 2024 Sierra, $1,500 Denali Ultimate. Plus, eligible Costco members can save an additional $1,200 right now at your Alberta GMC dealers. Good night.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
We're about 15, 20 minutes away from puck drop out in New York as the Rangers host the Panthers in Game 2 of the Eastern Conference Final. Florida leads that series 1-0 off the ice today. Scott Arniel being appointed the new head coach of the Winnipeg Jets. He's spent the last 2 seasons as an assistant coach in Winnipeg, and the Carolina Hurricanes announcing that President and GM Don Waddell has resigned from his position with the organization, adding that Eric Tulsky has been named interim GM while they find a permanent replacement. In the association, we're about 40 minutes away from tip-off. Timberwolves and Mavericks meeting in Minneapolis. It's Game 2 of their Western Conference Final. Dallas leading 1-0. Major League Baseball, the Jays in action. They trail the Tigers 4-0. That's in the top of the 5th. You can catch the Jays tomorrow and Sunday here on Sports 1440 radio feed only 11 a.m. tomorrow, 11 a.m. or 11:30 a.m. on Sunday in the Memorial Cup. It's Game 1 of the tournament action right now. Host Saginaw and Moose Jaw scoreless with about 10 minutes left in the first period. PWHL action. Minnesota leads Boston 2-0 in Game 3 of their final series. Minnesota and Boston each with a game apiece in that one. And in the WNBA tonight, Caitlin Clark and the Fever look for win 1 on the season as they're in LA taking on the Sparks. Tip-off just after 8 o'clock. That'll do it for us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Up next, it's Turn Sports. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.